Wildcat Football 1990, brought to you by WCET TV, Cable Channel 23. Jenison Wildcats versus the Granville Bulldogs.
If the kids aren't up for this, then they're not going to get up for any ball game.
Here comes the Jenison Wildcats right now, all excited, all fired up.
We'd have to look at them as the big brother of the OK Red.
There's a lot of excitement between these two teams. It's a healthy rivalry.
We're an up-and-coming team, and we really have something to prove, whereas they've proved year in, year out in recent history.
Jenison back to receive.
Manning deep on his 5-yard line. Goes up the middle.
Oh, he's got a wide open. Now it's the kicker. Can he get by him? He does get by him. He's going to go all the way. What a start for Jenison. Wishbone hands it off to the second man through, and he pops through, and he's looking for some running room, and he does. He's going to go all the way. Number 21, Ray Mendez, puts it in the end zone for Granville. Turns, quarterback is stopped for no. He hands the ball off. Number 44. Excellent handoff. Quite right, and he does. He pulls it back, and he's got a man wide open. And Moss is off to the races. Can he make it? And he does.
Hands off, and Nate Lertzema has plenty of room. Lertzema has room, and Lertzema has the carry, and he breaks into open field, and he could be gone. At the 20, and he is in for the score. Touchdown, Nate Lertzema. Touchdown, Nate Lertzema. Touchdown, Nate Lertzema.
Picks it up. Let's see if he can get it. He's got a man open. He throws it deep. Can he get it there? Yes, it's going to score. He touches. Touchdown. Number 80 for the Wildcats. Unbelievable.
Fake, and Doyle's off to the end zone. Touchdown, Granville Bulldogs.
See how the defense reacts quick. He breaks it. And he got it. Tear him up the middle. C.J. Hooper, and he pitches it, and he fumbles it, and they recover. And they do recover. Well,
good evening and welcome to the brand new Hudsonville Stadium here in Hudsonville. As tonight, WCET is proud to bring you high school football, the Jenison Wildcats and the Hudsonville Eagles. I'm Corey Lee along with Don Peterson and Roger York, fired up for this football game tonight because it features two teams very close together, their schools, and now their stadiums have gotten a lot closer.
They sure have, Corey. We appreciate the opportunity to come in and help WCET do the game tonight, Roger and I. And Corey, just to give you a little bit of a background, 29 years ago the series started between these two schools. In 1970, the series right now is led by Jenison Wildcats, 11-0 in the neighborhood rivalry. Last year I should say, Hudsonville was defeated by Jenison at Jenison 29-12, so I suppose the Hudsonville Eagles are looking to make revenge here tonight on their home field, which is a beautiful facility, right, Roger, wouldn't you say?
It's an outstanding facility. We were talking to some of the principal and the athletic director, and I just am so impressed with the field and the equipment and just all the people that have handled the opening night. I guess last week was their opening night, but tonight Jenison coming over as the visitors. Well, for Hudsonville, they've completed one task, and that's beating Granville in the OK Red. And tonight they're going to try and complete the second task of beating Jenison.
Both of these schools are playing their second game of the season, non-conference contest. Both teams coming off wins last week. Jenison defeating Muskegon at home 39-15, while the Hudsonville Eagles defeated Granville here last week 6-0 in a non-conference contest. I look for Jenison to sort of open up the field on offense and move some of their split ends out wide, right and left, open up the field for Harriman, who's number 30, 3-year starter at fullback. Plays both ways, a senior, 3-year starter. He's probably got over 2,000 career yards, and look for a lot of Mitch Harriman, number 30, at fullback and at linebacker. And then a returner in the backfield for the Wildcats, quarterback C.J. Hooper is 5'9" with a big strong arm, 155-pound senior. Last week against Muskegon, he was 3 for 5 in passing for 93 yards and 2 touchdowns. And we have a big right tackle, number 79, Kyle Ross, at 6'6", 265. last year played on the left side of the line. They should have moved him right tackle. On defense, 3 returners. Dustin Manning, number 33, a defensive end. He's a big kid, 6'2", 225 senior. And the other defensive end, Ryan Smoes, comes back at 6 foot 210. He's also a senior. And Rick Boheis, he moved him into middle or inside linebacker. Look for number 9, do a little damage there at 6 foot 190. So looks for a good contest from Jenison.
There had to be a couple of big plays and a couple of key players that were help the Eagles win that game.
Well, the game last week was here in Hudsonville Stadium, and Hudsonville came out with a 6-0 victory. It was basically set up by an interception, and Reagan making the interception, Reagan scoring the touchdown, but 2 different Reagans doing it. Interception was right at the 17-yard line, and that really set it up. Matt Reagan's interception set up Ken Reagan's 6-yard touchdown run. Basically, they were going back and forth. Granville could get inside Hudsonville territory about 6 times in the game, but they came away with 0 points. A lot of penalties and some foolish mistakes, especially when the time was ticking down, costing them that game. And Hudsonville's the Eagle defense bent but did not break in that game and came away with a tough victory.
That's sort of the way Hudsonville played last year. The defense really rose to the occasion many times, and I think it's carried on to the state championship.
So it's going to be interesting to see these 2 teams match up. We noticed last week that sitting where we are right now, we can see the lights of the Jenison Stadium. I don't even think we can see where I parked today, but you can see the Jenison lights. But of course, they're here to take on Hudsonville tonight.
Boy, it's almost like a home game for the Wildcats as well as Hudsonville because they're so close in proximity to this stadium. Beautiful facility here. Tonight the weather is around 85, I would say 80 degrees with very little wind, so the wind won't play a factor. I think both schools have 2 players that go both offensively and defensively, and both schools dress a number of players, so they should have fresh troops to go in on a warm night as tonight is.
Well, we talked a little bit about Jenison. Here's how Hudsonville will look, especially on the offense. And there's their starters getting introduced to the crowd here. And we've got another packed house here at the brand new Hudsonville Stadium. The quarterback is Greg Immick, and he had a very good game. It was a little high on maybe some of his passes to start the game, but of course that's nerves. He's taken over in his first year of starting. Behind him, he's got 2 backs who will get a lot of carries, John Besselson and Luke Tanis. Pretty much even with the amount of carries each of those guys will get. And maybe Besselson had a few more carries last week over Tanis. But that's pretty much the ground game for Hudsonville. If it goes in the air, they've got some talented receivers who made some catches last week. Mike Zwiers and Corey Naderveld caught a couple balls for Hudsonville. And of course, Ken Reagan got 1 carry, and that was good enough for a touchdown, the only touchdown that has been in this stadium in its history.
Well, this will be a very, very fine match, and as Hudsonville community grows and grows, they're a Class A high school, and of course Jenison is a Class AA high school, and I'm sure Hudsonville's going to catch up shortly, and they'll be right on the same level as far as students. So just about ready to get kick off for the start of the game, and Corey, you want to call a play-by-play?
The Hudsonville Eagles will receive the kickoff from the Jenison Wildcats, who, as we mentioned, have a long history here with the Hudsonville Eagles. And in fact, the last 6 games for sure can go back, and you can see that Jenison was victorious. And they're trying for that again here tonight after defeating them last year. Hudsonville pretty much got fired up after that game and went on that long winning streak. Here's a kickoff return, and a nice return going up to the 26-yard line. Hudsonville Eagles.
Brought down by number 51 for the Wildcat. For the deputy 51 was Nate Cucci on the tackle.
Underwood was the one who returned it for the Hudsonville Eagles. Dwyer on the tackle for the Wildcats.
Wildcats.
Be a first down and 10 from the 26-yard line for the Hudsonville Eagles. Dressed in their home uniform, Emink with the handoff to the second man through the hole, and Tanis is spun around and finally dropped after about a 5-yard pickup. Actually, that was Gent on the carry, number 21. Second down and 5. Imink with the handoff straight up the middle. We've got whistles, and this play never started. A whistle and a flag comes in from the official on the far side. And probably somebody moving a little bit early for the Eagles. And that will push them back 5 yards.
Number 50 bringing the play in for the Eagles for
a procedure penalty against Hudsonville.
Jason Allen, number 50.
Here's the starting offensive line for the Eagles. We'll try and get to all the starters. Van Stedham, number 53, is the center. And we'll get to the rest of them after this play, which is now a second down and 10 for the Eagles. Imink, hands off, and pretty much stuck right at the line of scrimmage. Good defense there by the Wildcats to come up and stack that line.
Ryan Bursley, 81 on the stop for the Eagles, a junior. 6 foot 185.
Well, the Eagles are going to have to take a look at maybe putting the ball in the air right now. It's third and about 10 yards to go. And I'm sure the Wildcats are going to put a little heavy pressure on the quarterback, so we'll see. It looks like the Eagles are going to come out and go into a slot formation. You got slot to the right, single setback.
This is a third down and 9. Pitch goes to the outside. And there's flags all over the place, and this play will stop, even though Besselson had a nice run getting to the outside on the left side of the formation.
Driven out of bounds by Austin Amato at the cornerback position. But as you said, Corey, there are 2 flags down. We have to see what the call is. The referee is calling a penalty against the Eagles for some sort of an infraction. I didn't pick that up, but moving them back at least 5 yards.
This is something that Coach Durham does not want to happen, is start the game off with a 3 or 4 penalties right in a row. It sort of gets you off on the wrong foot, especially against a good team like Jenison.
Brings up a 3rd and 15, so obviously a passing situation. Greg Emick looked for him to throw that ball with 2 wideouts to the near side of the field over here, 1 to the far left. He's backing back, dropping back to pass, pressured by Wildcat. 52, Smoes had him wrapped up and let him go.
But Emick is down right at the 20-yard line, and that's going to bring up a 4th down and about 15 for the Eagles.
Well, the Wildcats showed good team speed on that pursuit to come back and pick off the ball carrier and bring him down for no gain, basically. So it'll be 4th down, and the Eagles will be kicking.
Well, we didn't get to the rest of the offensive line starters. Mike Kinsma is a guard on the left side. Number 69, Van Eck, is the tackle on the left side. Number 51, Cucci. And number 58, that would be Ben Kurson. That's the offensive front.
A nice kick downfield picked up by Austin Amato. The call for a fair catch. Nice punt to the 40-yard line, 39-yard line.
Right off the bat, the Wildcats have picked up good field position. So now we'll see what the Wildcats do once they take possession of the football.
Beautiful spiral kick downfield. Very little wind to contend with. A little warm tonight.
And the Wildcats quickly get up to the football with 9:15 left to go in the first quarter of the play. This will be their first offensive series, starting at the 40-yard line back in their own territory. One back in the backfield for the Wildcats. Hooper is the quarterback. Long snap count. Option to the far side. Pitch comes out to Mitch Harima. Harima is racked up after about a 2-yard gain, pushed out of bounds by a ton of Eagle defenders.
First man on the top of it was a Clement, 55 for the Eagles. Goes both ways. Plays offensive guard, I believe, or tackle. Plays that defensive line or linebacker.
Corey, you're going to see a lot of that C.J. Hooper to Harima tonight. They'll either go left or right, and they'll just keep bringing Harima into the line, and maybe he'll bust one, which he did many times last year.
You'll notice the Wildcats are splitting a field wide to give room for Harima up the middle. They've got 2 split, one on both sides, and a split tailback to the right. Harima behind the split up the middle.
Harima gets it right up the middle, and he was stuck for a 1-yard gain on the last carry. In this one, he might have picked up about half a yard. It's going to bring up 3rd down and long for the Wildcats.
Bringing back the tradition, right, with the Hudsonville Eagles.
You know,
the defense is doing a good job.
It's the same
and that's
old,
what they have to do. They have to keep Harima maybe 1 or 2 yards, maybe 3 yards at most, and then watch the option with the quarterback.
Kevin Fales, number 80, 84, split out far to the left here.
third down and 8 for the Wildcats. And they try and run option, the fake to Harima, and then Hooper is stuck right at the line of scrimmage. He did fall ahead for a couple yards, but it's going to be at least 4th down and 5 and time to punt for the Wildcats.
See, that was the same type of play they ran to the other side, only he couldn't get out. The defense really tied up the quarterback, C.J. Hooper. Good defense by the Eagles.
And quickly, they're set to punt.
Kid Reagan dropping back to field his punt on about the 22-yard line. Breaks to his right. Broke one tackle and was brought down by number 9, Boathuis, and along with number 10, Amato.
The punt by Paramount, fielded by Reagan.
8 minutes left to go in the first quarter of play. Each team has touched the ball once, but so far no first downs have been made. They've had to punt, both teams.
Don't you normally think at a high school game like this there's a lot of butterflies when the competition between these two schools is so close in there that the butterflies are still in the system? Give them a few more series and I think you'll see them for football.
It's a first down and 10 now for the Eagles as they take over on the 27-yard line. Hemming with the handoff, and it goes right up the middle, slightly off to the right side. A carry made by the Eagles, able to pick up a few yards, about a 5-yard carry. And it looks like Jenison once again on the carry.
Brought down by Jeremy Lanstra, a sophomore.
That's really what Coach Durham wants right there, to establish that 4 or 5 yards. If he can do that against Jenison, he can start to really open up his game a little bit with a pass here and there.
It's a 2nd down and 6 now for Emink and the Eagles. High backfield. Besselson is the first back there, but it goes to Gent, and he has the carry up past the 35-yard line, close to the 36, but it's going to bring up about a 3rd down and 2.
You see the Wildcats went into a 5-man front that time, and they opened up the tackle, the guard, and Hudsonville picked it up real well on their blocking, and he picked up some nice yardage.
So from the 35, it's a 3rd down and 2. Same formation, however, the wing flips over to the right side. Emink under center with the long snap count. Hands off once again to Gent. Gent getting the bulk of the carries today, and he's got the first down of the game. Makes it by about 1 yard, a 4-yard pickup for the Eagles.
Actually, he fumbled the ball after his knee hit down on the ground. The ball was loose for a moment there. First down.
You know, again, the Wildcats were in a 5-man front, a straight 5-4, and the Eagles blocked it very well again. So let's watch and see if Jenison stays in that 5 or they go back to their 4, which is pretty traditional for them.
From the 39-yard line, first down and 10, 6.5 in the first quarter. Emink pitches it out to the left side, and Gent with the carry. Gets around the corner, but the Wildcats then converge and won't let him turn it.
Brought down by Amato again, number 10.
There's a flag on the play. It looks like that might be holding on the Eagles.
Good, as you can see again, good team speed. Here's a replay of that. Watch Jenison's linebackers flow right to the play. 4 or 5 people right around the ball carrier. Excellent, excellent team speed.
And it is a holding going against the Eagles, and it looks like Cucci on the replay got tangled up there. Kind of behind the play.
Well, we have a second just to set the Jenison defense. We have Dustin Manning in a defensive end position, Ryan Smoes at the other side, and the 2 defensive tackles, Babbitt and Postma. The linebackers would be Lanstra, Boathuis, Bursley, and Harima. At the corner spots are Austin Amato, Clay Bundy, and free safety is Aaron Dawkins.
It will remain first down and 10 as the penalty is marked back to the 28-yard line. So the Eagles have their work cut out for them on this first down and 21. Receiver to each side, in fact 2 to the far side. Emink dropping back to pass, looking to his right, now back to his left, setting up a screen. And the pass complete, it looks like Gent. No, actually that's Besselson. Besselson able to plow ahead for a few yards after making the grab. That's about a 6-yard pickup for the Eagles.
Number 58, they made a nice block. Ben Crisson on that particular play to open him up for that pass. Number 58 with a nice block for the Eagles. Watch the block on the replay here, number 58.
Yeah, watch on again on the replay. You saw a good team defense by the Wildcats. They respond well to the ball.
It's a 2nd down 16 now. So a 5-yard pickup on that last play. The screen pass to Besselson. Emink has 2 receivers now to the near side. He looks back to the left. Fires the long ball down the sidelines, and that's picked off. The Wildcats with the football and great blocking down the sideline. and the ball returned back to the 35-yard line.
Interception by 12, Bundy. Junior at 6'1", 160. A cornerback picked that ball up. Two-way starter.
Clay Bundy did a nice job. I mean, really, the quarterback underthrew the pass, which was picked off, and maybe we'll see a replay on it.
And the holding penalty will go against the Wildcats. Let's go back to that replay and the interception.
So we're gonna have to Hudsonville get the ball back, and we'll be right back in business.
Actually, Roger, the Eagles had a man open 3 yards past Bundy, but Bundy just picked off the underthrown pass as you mentioned. Returned it, but there's a penalty going against the Wildcats for holding.
But it was after the interception, so the Wildcats will have it on the 41-yard line with a first down and 10, their second offensive series.
First mistake of the ball game.
Well, this is what it's all about. They can maybe key off a mistake by the Wildcats defensively. They push the ball back in a good field position right now, and if Hudsonville can hold them on defense, they can get the ball turned back to them.
Don will run through the offensive starters here in just a moment on the second offensive series. The pitch goes out to Harriman, option to the left side. Harriman makes a nice move around the corner and gets pulled down after a 7-yard pickup. He's close to the 50-yard line. A beautiful option play. Hooper throwing it out to Harriman.
Brought down by 34. Number 34 was Jordan Brower for the Eagles. Actually, the offensive starters for the Wildcats, the center is Nate Griffin, the guards will be Wakeman and Stevens. The tackles, as we mentioned before, Cal Russ 79 and Skinner 72. At the split-in position, number 12, Clay Bundy. The other split-in, Kevin Fales 84. C.J. Hooper at quarterback. We have Harriman, Amato, and Dawkins in the backfield.
Officially a 6-yard pickup, so a second down and 4 from the 47. Wildcats still in their own territory, but they're threatening to go across to the Eagle side of the field. Pitch goes out to the right side. Harriman dropped it for a second, picked it back up, and now he's paying the price. A loss of 3 yards on the play back at the 45.
Kevin Clement came up and did a nice job on that. Followed the play, showed good speed, and came and made the tackle.
As you see there, he gets the handshake as Ken Reagan is happy to see his defensive mate making that big play.
Well, right now, both teams are showing excellent defensive play, showing good team speed. So I guess it's going to get down to a mistake or somebody can't quite follow through on their defensive assignment. So we'll just wait and see.
Player comes in late to the formation for the Wildcats, but he's got the call now. Hooper settles under center with the 3rd down and 6 from the 45. That was a 2-yard loss on that last play. Complete out in the flat.
Amato made a nice move, a beautiful move.
Enough for the first down, and he's finally dragged out at the 30-yard line.
Hopefully we'll get a replay because after Amato, number 10, took the reception wide open, you'll see that he makes a nice move in the defender, cuts back to the outside, and then cuts back inside, and is finally driven out on the 30-yard line for a first down.
Red Reagan had to go for a little ride before he'd get the tackle.
Well, basic play coming out in the flat and just hit him with a nice pass, and he did all the rest of the work. So Jenison's on the march right now.
That goes all the way down to the 31-yard line, a 25-yard pickup. On that pass, Hooper firing it out to Amato. First down and 10. Hooper backs up to pass. Looks like he's setting up a screen. Now rolling out to the right. Keeps it under the wing, and he's got positive yardage. Leaps over one defender and knocked down after about a 7-yard pickup on the play.
Boy, that's changed of last year. If you'll remember last year, C.J. Hooper had no problem putting the ball under his arm and going down the field. He ran close to 700 yards last year on the ground with the Wildcats. So he can throw the ball or he can put under his wing and go. Got good speed.
Well, second and short yardage right now. A little pressure being added onto the Hudsonville defense. We'll see if they can respond. And the Wildcats look for Harriman somewhere from tackle to tackle.
Almost a free down with second and short yardage, you can say. So they're in 4-down territory. Second, you can run almost anything you want to run down here.
This is where last week the Hudsonville defense really came to play. They made a lot of big plays on short yardage plays like this, and it looks like they might have another stop here, but it's going to be close to the first down sticks. The official coming in from the near side has it marked good enough for a first down, and it is.
We got a nice mark by the officials on that one because that Hooper was stuck right there at the line of scrimmage.
Inside the 20, it will be a first down for the Wildcats.
Number is that 55? His jersey's.
Yeah, Clement came up to make the tackle again.
Darn nice hit. I mean, right there, met the quarterback, brought him down. Luckily, he fell forward and he got a first down.
Working inside the red zone now. Wildcats Two receivers come to the near side, one to the far side. Little conversation there. Amato comes over to talk with Hooper. And timeout called by the Wildcats. Something wasn't quite set up there, and it is the second week of the season.
And they're down an opportunity to scoring line. As you said, the red zone, they're first and 10 on the 20-yard line. So we have 3:05 in the first quarter. We don't want to make, Jenison doesn't want to have a mistake at this point in the game.
Well, this is what Jenison did last week, is they spread the field out, and that's what they're showing right here now. What Hudsonville's going to have to do is they're going to have to meet them head-on-head, and maybe Harriman will take the ball up the middle. We'll have to wait and see. But they did this last week, and it really paid off for them.
And this is something Hudsonville did not see last week. Basically, Granville sits in the same formation the entire game, whether they're got to march the entire field with a minute to go or whether it's the first play of the game. Nobody was really spreading the Eagle defense out last week.
Just to set the Eagle defense, we have Cunningham, defensive tackle, along with Colton Van Stedham, 53. The nose guards are John Van Slyke, 34, Jordan Brower. The linebackers are Reagan, Kochi, Clement, Auburn. Corners are Smith and Gent. Free safety, Matt Reagan.
Both teams coming into the game 1-0, victorious in their first week. Both of them picking up home victories.
This year also, too, with the playoff situation, more teams will be in the playoffs. So if you can run your season and maybe lose one or two, you're in the playoffs.
First down and 10 from the 19. Cooper sends Amato in motion. Now option to the near side. Amato has the pitch, and he has the corner, but he lost the football. And Cucci dives on top of it for the Eagles. A big turnover, and that's what the Eagles showed last week, that they can make the big play.
Well, there's that support from the defense. They came up and made the big play, and now they can maybe change that momentum because the Wildcats sure were going down.
If you see the replay, you'll see there's no reason for the fumble. He just drops the ball out of his hand. He was not hit, but Cucci, 51, does pick up the ball on about the 27-yard line. Big break for the Eagles.
Eagles all last week just kind of waited around and waited for the Bulldogs to miscue, and then they take advantage of it. We'll see if they can here now, but that really stops a big drive that the Wildcats put together. From the 26-yard line, actually the 27, handoff, and looks like Reagan.
Big hit by Boheist, number 9, came in. If you see the replay, Boheist 9 came in strong from his linebacker position at 6'1", 190.
Actually, it was number 3, Mike Smith. Smith getting his first carry of the game.
Well, Hudsonville's going to try and power that football right now. They're in an I formation. They get the lead blocker, go up into the line, but the Wildcats responded right at the line of scrimmage. Fairly close, picked up a couple yards. We'll see what Hudsonville comes out with right now.
Smith is the tailback. Besselson lined up right in front of him. They're both behind Greg Emick, first-year starter for the Eagles. And flag goes against the Eagles. They'll be moved back 5 yards as Jordan Bauer was a little excited to get the play going.
Coach Durham is not a happy man to see that. You take away all that momentum.
2:14 left to go in the first quarter of play. And the Eagles are moving backwards. They have a second down and 13 to deal with here. Big crowd on hand in the brand new Hudsonville Stadium. Basically at the corner of Baldwin and 36th. Pitch goes to the outside. Smith has again one of the fastest Eagles. Cuts to the corner. And he has the first down as he runs into one of the Wildcats right at the first down stick and was able to nose it ahead for the first down.
Aaron Dawkins drove him out of bounds on about the 36-yard line.
He was forced out of bounds by Smoke.
Watch Smith now as he takes that football, looking downfield for a break, and he turns upfield, shows that speed, picks up some nice yardage.
A good hit on the sideline, but enough for a first down.
14 yards gain.
The Eagles convert on second down and 13. Now a first down and 10 from the 37 back in their own territory.
It's a little bit like a boxing match here. We're sort of punching each other back and forth a little bit to see who can make something happen.
Pitch goes out. Smith has it again. Looking for room on the corner. Cuts back and picks up what he can, and he lost the football. And the Wildcats aren't celebrating yet, but they have the football.
Boheist, number 9 on the fumble recovery. It's a flag down on the play, however. Holding called against the Eagles. Declined, obviously.
Here's the fumble, and once again, it looks like just sloppy carrying.
Yeah, the ball's he held the ball right out in front and just came right out of his arm.
Maybe it was Aaron Dawkins who came up and made the play.
Dawkins may have made the play, and number 9 picked up on the, I believe it was Boheis that picked up the fumble recovery, but I'm sure he can tell us next week if he did or not.
Dawkins got the shoulder in there to punch out the football. So back-to-back fumbles, each team giving it back to the other. And now the Wildcats, a first down and 10 from the 38 inside Hudsonville territory. So far scoreless here in the first quarter. And a big blitz. Reagan comes in and makes the big sack on Hooper.
A blindside blitz by the Eagles came from the right side. Nobody blocked them. They had to bore right in on the quarterback. Watch on the replay. Nobody picks him up. Now, most of the time, a guard usually pulls out of there and will block him at the end position, but it didn't happen this time, and the Hudsonville Eagles had a nice setback for, now it's what, third down?
Second down and 15. It will
Second
be.
and 15, he lost 5.
Ken Reagan coming off the corner. He had the touchdown last week, and Mitch Harima, the back, was worried about the pressure coming up the middle. Didn't think about him coming on the blitz from the outside. Now Harima has a carry. He breaks through the line. He's got a first down and more. It's a foot race now, and Mitch Harima goes in for the touchdown. Touchdown, Jenison Wildcats, a 43-yard run from Mitch Harima.
Actually, Harriman had a beautiful hole off the right side of the line. If we see the replay, watch the hole open up on the right side of the line. He cuts back inside and back outside, gets a nice block downfield, and he's got wide open field to the end zone.
Maybe if we even replay that again, you're going to see
nice
the
block
tackle.
by Kevin Fales.
You're going to see the tackle pull down, and Harriman cuts right off his back. If we see a replay or you watch it again, and everything was strong to the right. Here you go. Now watch the guard. Watch him pull. Nope, this is the extra point. Nope, there it is. You see that right there? And then, of course, Harriman does his thing. Right now, we got the extra point.
Perfect snap, and the kick is away very high and straight down the middle. So the Jenison Wildcats respond, and they get the extra point. Brad Winnis.
Brad Winnis, and the hold was, was it Hooper, this quarterback, holding the ball. So we have a 7-zip ball game with very little time left. What do we have left in this quarter?
50.2 on the brand new clock.
Everything's new here.
Everything's point something now in sports.
That's right.
Well, that's a little bit about how Jenison plays, though. They'll come up with a big play. Last year, Harriman did that many times. They'll sort of lull you to sleep, make a few mistakes, and all of a sudden, bang, they score real quick. Harriman runs the football for some nice yardage for a touchdown.
Oh, that's a 43-yard touchdown run from Mitch Harriman. After that big sack pushed him back a little bit, Wildcats respond with a nice run.
Well, this will be interesting, Corey, to see how they respond now. Hudsonville on offense, if they can come back and sustain a first down or get a couple first downs so they don't get their dauber down too much and get right back in this football game.
Seven 0 Wildcats as we get ready to wind down the final 50 seconds of the opening quarter. Winnis getting set to kick it off. He is a senior. And the lefty puts it in play. Kick will go to Smits. Smits carries from the 12. He's going to try and take it right side, cuts back to the left, finds a little hole, but then he's smothered by a bunch of Wildcats and twisted and turned, and he was down before the ball came out. He was twisted up like a big pretzel down at the bottom of the pile.
Little pulling going on, trying to get that ball to pop out before he hit the ground, but Hudsonville will have the ball first and 10.
Actually, the kicker, Winans, was the one that was on the ball that made the tackle. Made the stop.
The ball is marked outside the Hudsonville 47.
Well, let's see what kind of defense the Wildcats come up with. They played a 5 and they played a 4-man front, and so the success they've had is usually in the 4-man front. But let's watch and see what they do right now.
First down and 10 from the 28-yard line. 43.7 left to go in the first quarter of play, and the Eagles find themselves trailing for the first time this year. Emink with a long snap count, motion from left to right. Fakes the pitch, keeps it himself on the left side. Has two blockers in front of him, but the defense, not too many of them were fooled as Boheis comes by and makes the tackle.
Rick Boheis made a nice tackle. Good pursuit, just came down the line of scrimmage and brought him right to the ground.
And I think we'll have one more play in this quarter. Substitution comes in now for the Eagles, and they did that last year. A lot of the offensive guards come in and bring in the plays for them on offense.
Now this is sort of a must for Hudsonville. They need to get some kind of momentum going here to break that momentum from Jenison.
And there's only 4 seconds remaining. We'll see if they get the snap off. And they do not. So they'll let the first quarter expire, trailing 7-0 here at Hudsonville High School.
Well, as Roger said earlier, during the first period, it was like a boxing match. Two heavyweights sort of feeling one another out. Being high school players, the butterflies sort of settled down, and there were a few mistakes by both teams. But Jenison was the first to go on the board with 50 seconds in the first quarter. Number 30, Mitch Harriman, went off the right sideline for 43 yards with some beautiful running into the left corner of the end zone to make it 6-0. And the extra point by Wyman, here's a touchdown by Harriman. Watch the speed as he sees the end zone. Nice block in there by Kevin Fales, 84, on that to also help along with the score.
And you know, you can tell how intelligent Fales is, because a lot of players would come up and hit that defender who's going down, maybe get called for a clip there as the defender had his back turned, but Fales lays off, he goes on to the next guy, and Harriman is able to get in.
Well, you'll notice too, as Harriman plays more in this game, as we see more plays, he has a great knack of cutting back. You'll see him go left and cut back right. He's a very gifted player doing that, and again, it's very difficult as a defender to make those cuts. And we'll see what happens at the second quarter.
Eagles will start the second quarter with a 2nd down and 10.
Mike Schmidt has been a workhorse here for the Eagles in the opening quarter. He had one little miscue, but he's carried the ball quite a few times.
This time Emink will keep it himself. He goes off to the right side after faking inside. He's able to pick up about 4 yards and make it a 3rd down and 6 for the Eagles. Cross makes the tackle.
The game is to the Hudsonville 32.
Big play for the Eagles right now. 3rd down and about 6 yards. I don't know how much of a passing play they had last week. I don't know if they roll out much, but this might be a good opportunity to roll out and see what he can find.
Gent and Besselson are the backs in the backfield. A receiver off to the far side. Emink with a long snap count on this 3rd down and 5. He rolls out to the right, looking to pass, and the pass is complete as he fires it down there to Naderveld. And Naderveld is able to have the 1st down yardage for the Eagles.
He was forced out of bounds by Amato.
Nice pass play. You noticed how it worked. He went down about 10, 15. Watch the replay right now. Goes down and he's clear. Defender from Jenison had 3 or 4 steps on him and made the reception, and now Hudsonville's marching down the field.
Roger, basically you called the play before it happened. So it's a 1st down and 10 from the 47, just short of midfield for the Eagles, as we are just underway here in the second quarter. Emink looking down deep on the left side. Naderveld trying to cut in to get back to the ball, and a defensive penalty on the Wildcats.
Definitely call pass interference, and he was interfered with. We'll probably see the replay here, and you'll see there's a little interference. Watch and see here. The ball is well thrown.
Naderveld's just trying to cut back in.
Defender from Hudsonville was very smart. He sort of slowed down a little bit trying to come back, and of course Jenison bumped him, and that's interference.
It's the right call, but it's a tough call. As the defender, you're doing the best you can, and the ball's underthrown. You're trying to give yourself also an opportunity to catch it, but you're blocking out the offensive player, and that will throw the flag down every time.
Pass interference penalty against the Wildcats.
And that penalty will move it down to the 39-yard line. The Eagles now invade Wildcat territory.
Well, this is the kind of break, I think, Corey, that the Eagles need. Is just something to get them going, and maybe they can put it in the end zone.
1st down and 10 from the 39. Long snap count for Emink. He fakes the handoff, takes it himself, and bounced back like a little pinball after a gain of no yardage. Big hit there from the front to the Wildcats.
Dustin Manning really came up and stuck the quarterback on that play.
Richard Zavitz, along with Manning, 61, helped out as well, Roger. Brings up 3rd and 10, I guess. It was 2nd and 10. Very little gain, if any.
Well, looks like 2nd and 9.5. We'll be generous and give him a half yard.
Positive yardage.
I noticed Hudsonville stays in the I formation quite a bit, and they run usually some pass plays out of that. Let's see what happens.
Emink rolls off to the right, gets a good block from the back, gets away from one defender, and he's able to pick up positive yards, about 5, before he's shoved out of play at the 33-yard line, and will bring up a 3rd down and 5.
Dustin Manning, 33, had a nice shot at the ball carrier, but he was eventually driven out of bounds by the sophomore Lanstra on approximately the 30-yard line, 35-yard line.
Good speed by Emink. You notice he gets around that corner, and I'm sure the Jenison defensive coaches are not happy about that, because once he gets around there, he's got 4 or 5 yards he can pick up.
So far, we've been treated to a pretty good football game between two good teams. 7-0. Jenison has the lead on Hudsonville. Hudsonville with the football now in the yellow helmets. And the handoff goes to the second man through. That's Gent, but he is stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. A nice 3rd down stop for the Wildcats.
Good line play by the Jenison defense. They just moved down the line, closed the hole, made the tackle. 2 or 3 people are right there. They've been in a 5-man front most of this drive, so we'll see where they stay.
And is this 2-down territory for the Eagles? Now they're at the 34, facing a 4th down and 5. Looks like they are going to go for it.
What would you do if you're the coach right now?
I would say Roger, 4th and 5 down in the 30. I wouldn't put the ball up in the air. They had the pass interference call earlier. Although,
well, their tendencies have been to roll out here. Let's
they only have the one split out to the near side with the I formation in the back. Let's see how many puts the ball up.
I think Naderveld will be involved in this play. Emink for the
He
pass,
does. He's wide
and
open.
he gets the completion, and it is enough for a 1st down, shoved out at the 25-yard line. The pass is complete, not to Naderveld, but Zwiering on the grab, number 86.
Driven out of bounds by 27, Dawkins. The big 1st down, big play for the Eagles. With 4th and 5 to go, they put the ball up, and it paid off.
That I formation where they roll out has been very successful. They pick up 5, 6, 7 yards. Jenison right now has not stopped that play, so that's something they're going to have to work on. Here we go,
back to that
again. Simple rollout, sets, throws, complete, 1st down.
So the Eagles keep the drive alive. 9 minutes left to go in the 1st half. They trail 7-0, but they're on the move down to the 25-yard line. Emink has some pressure coming from behind. That's because they're setting up a screen. Besselson with the completion. He's down the sidelines, and he stays in at the 5 and finally pushed out at the 4. Boy, he was fighting for everything he could before he was shoved out of play.
Beautiful screen pass by the Eagles. They looked to their right, threw back to the left, and he had running room right down the side. Watch it right now as we replay this. Look to look, comes back. He's got 2 good blockers downfield, breaks a couple tackles, picks up yardage right down to the 4 or 3-yard line, somewhere in that area.
He's driven out of bounds by Cross and Dawkins at about the 4-yard line.
Boy, Harriman was totally sold on the play, and they were setting up a pass back to the flats, and a big pickup for the Eagles. Showing a nice play there, and now they've got 1st down and goal from the 4-yard line.
Now they're in a post set in the backfield. Let's see how they operate out of this.
Handoff is up the middle.
Fumble.
And the ball comes out loose. Wildcats, some players are celebrating. No official word yet.
Dustin Manning thinks he has the ball recovered.
I didn't see any official word, though.
No, I don't either, but the offense is off the field, and they are giving a ball to the Wildcats. They are now signaling for a 1st down right now.
Well, the Wildcats were stopped on a penetration drive earlier on a fumble, and now the Eagles, when they move inside territory, they fumble the ball right back to the Wildcats.
Big mistake on the part of the Eagles with the opportunity with 1st and 10 on the 4-yard line. The first play from the series, they fumble the ball.
Well, Coach Durham cannot be happy with that turnover, especially when you're going into score.
Hooper keeps it himself, but he's cut down at the. He's able to pick up about 3 yards, taking it off to the left side. Good movement by that side of the line.
The offense keeping conservative this deep in territory. I suppose with the few mistakes they've made, they're being very conservative with the calls. Look for Harriman to take these next 2 carries. At 6'2", 225, he's got the power to bring that ball. I think it just break him loose, which you've seen him do several times in the last 2 years. Although their offensive line this year is a little smaller than last year's line. The one returner in Ross, 79, the right tackle.
Wildcats lost quite a few starters off last year's team. Motion from left to right. Hooper with the handoff up the middle, and just as you called it, short of the 1st down by about a yard.
Yeah, they run that play in tight all the time where Harriman slashes to the backside. And if the linebackers for Hudsonville aren't there, he's going to get some yards.
Roger, you have 3rd and 1. What do you do here?
Third down.
I think I'd hand the ball off to Harriman.
I would say so.
Well, they may spread it out a little bit, and bring him back up the middle on a slant. And,
One of the old coaching axioms for years has always been, if it's working, don't stop until he stop it. Just keep playing and running the same play until he stop it.
Third down and officially 2. A short 2. Amato is in motion. Handoff goes to Harriman, bounces off a couple defenders, and he's still working at the 20-yard line. Finally smothered there by 2 Eagle defenders. And a first down for the Wildcats.
Nice run by Harriman, number 30.
Well, that's the kind of offense the Wildcats need to run, is just from tackle to tackle or 6 to 6. Here's the replay. Watch him just punish a few players, come right up, try to tackle him, legs moving, picks up the good yardage.
Joey Gent on the stop on that particular play, but not until after we had a first down by the Wildcats. With 7:06 to go in the second period. Jenison a little bit on the march at the first down, getting it out of that deep part of the end zone area.
From the 20-yard line, a first down and 10. Hooper spins, keeps it himself, going off to the left side. Avoids 2 defenders, and he breaks to the outside. First down yardage, and Smith finally racks him up at the 34-yard line.
Another nice block by Kevin Bales, 84, to spring C.J. loose. You see, C.J. has good speed. Watch it again here. You'll see him breaking to his left. Watch the block out in front by 84. Kevin Bales, you see a nice block right inside.
But you know what he did? He tied up those linebackers from Hudsonville. When he went in there and turned, Harriman looked like he had the ball. Bingo, he pops outside and no one's out there.
And Reagan went fishing for shoelaces. And Hooper made the nice move to get to the outside. Hooper spins. This time it's Harriman. Harriman has room off the left side and a blocker in front. And he fumbles the ball. It was stripped away from behind. A big play by the Eagles coming up from behind and making the strip. I didn't catch the number. It looked like maybe 61 had done that.
Well, watch on this. If we rerun this play, you'll watch the watch Harriman run right up the gut, and the linebacker blitzed, so he was wide open.
It was Cucci, 51.
51 picked up the football.
He made the strip from behind.
Excellent play by the Hudsonville Eagles to turn that ball back over again. But I'll tell you, if the Wildcats can ever get their act together, they can do some damage. And same thing with Hudsonville. Right now, they're fumbling the ball away.
Wildcats looked really sharp on that drive. And they had a huge hole for Harriman. He just didn't see the defender coming from behind. Cucci making the good play. Immink throws it up. Naderveld going for the football, and he's bumped by Amato, but no flag thrown. And that's a good call.
Well covered by Amato, a two-way starter, number 10 for the Wildcats. Intended receiver, 83, Naderveld.
Amato, the defender.
Well, Hudsonville trying to go for broke real fast. That's sort of out of sequence for them, but maybe they'd catch Jenison flat-footed in the defense.
Emick is not being pressured very much on his passing attempts. When he drops back, he does have time to release the ball, so he's getting good offensive protection from the line, which averages about 22-20 tackle to tackle. They have a big offensive line, the Eagles do.
Naderveld comes to the near side, split backs. Emick hands it off inside. A couple of yards there, about 3 or 4, right up the middle for the Eagles. And it looks like Besselson got the carry.
The ball carrier.
It is Besselson.
You notice on that play, the quarterback really carried out his fake well, and he took a couple of people with him. And that's what it's all about, is to make sure you carry out your fakes, and if you can take a defender with him, it may break somebody for a long run.
That's one thing I took away from last week's game. Emick really was fooling the defense by the way he carried out the rest of the play. And for a first-year starter, that's tremendous coaching and tremendous response from the coaching. Second down and 5, actually a third down and 5, and the pass tipped, almost picked off. Number 16, Jeremy Landstra, almost had his hands on an interception.
Incomplete.
Well, Landstra did a nice job getting back, and you notice how they sandwiched the defender, or sandwiched the receiver between two people and got their hand up, batted the ball away. The ball looked like it was going to be caught when it left the hands of the quarterback.
By either the defender or the offensive player.
Either one.
They had equal opportunity.
Amato back deep to receive the punt on approximately the 22-yard line, along with number 12 for the Wildcats, Clay Bundy, both with good speed.
Emick set the punt. He had a booming punt. The first one he had last week, but then they kind of went downhill from that point on. But he's got a good leg. Puts this one up right about the 30-yard line, and a collision, and a penalty flag is thrown because the Eagle defender got in there and pushed away the Wildcat.
It seemed like there was a little collision in there before, and we'll see if he's a victim of circumstance.
You've got to give the offensive player a 5-yard leeway to catch the ball, which he was not given. As you said before, Corey, the defender came down and interfered with the reception, and there's going to be a 5-yard penalty, I think, marked off against the Eagles.
You may see he was pushed into the receiver there. That's what they may be talking about.
Oh, illegal.
See?
Well, they waved it off.
Interference penalty against Hudsonville declined. It will be Jenison ball, 1st and 10.
Well, Jenison will have the football.
That's right. I guess you rather have the football than the penalty.
32.
Well, I thought maybe they would have the football plus the penalty here, but apparently that is not the case.
Tony and Nice over there trying to talk to the officials, but apparently to no avail.
Well, we have 5:23 to go. Let's see if the Wildcats can get back to putting that ball on the ground and moving downfield.
Amato goes in motion, and he gets the pitch on the right side. He might throw it, and he does. And he lofts it downfield, incomplete around the 40-yard line as he was trying to hook up with a receiver breaking down the field.
Clay Bundy was wide open 5 yards behind the defender and was just underthrown, or I guess overthrown. Nice arm by Austin Amato.
Don, that's right. He caught Hudsonville flat-footed right there, and then any type of touch on that football could have been a touchdown or a long gain.
If we happen to see the replay on it, you'll see that Bundy was probably 5 yards behind the closest defender. Good arm strength by number 10. Here's a replay. Watch the offense. Yeah, he's 5 yards deep.
And it was 5 yards overthrown.
Right.
Now notice the Wildcats now are trying to spread the field out right in the first half. You watch the fullback go right up the middle.
Hand off up the middle. Harriman leaping for whatever he can get, but he's stuck right at the line of scrimmage and driven back by the Eagle defenders.
Gang tackling by the Eagles going to the ball.
That was the same play right there that he scored a touchdown on. Only he didn't quite make it through the line.
Hey, just to go back to Amato's pass, he lofted it up trying to give Bundy enough time to run under it. Just left it a little too far. That was actually a very good throw for the situation he was in. Now Bundy comes to the near side. Two receivers, in fact, to the near side. One to the far, one back in the backfield. That's Harriman. Hooper dropping back to pass, flags all over the place. And the pass is incomplete.
You might have a player lined up offside before the ball was even snapped, because that was a very quick penalty.
I think it's illegal formation, we'll see. I don't think the receiver was on the line of scrimmage. Or.
Well, that play just didn't look very good right from the start. Seemed like people were letting the defense did a fine job penetrating that play.
That'll bring up 4th and 9, punting situation. Harriman back to punt.
Well, this
back deep to receive for the Eagles, number 6, Reagan.
Well, this is going to give the Eagles very good field position if he gets off a normal type punt and gets a slight return back. So they'll be in pretty good shape with about 4 minutes to go.
Actually, the punter now is Hooper, C.J. Hooper back to kick.
Only one man pressuring him. Puts this one sky high, but not that deep. It's going to take a hop right at the about the 45-yard line and roll back to the 33.
You know, in high school football, that's a big part of this game. It's a kicking game, and that player right there could have come up and caught that ball. He'd have been 10 yards up the field, and that's just with a young player. They might not be able to do that. That's all.
Roger, the ball was kicked awfully high. Had he come up to the ball, you know, he could have been hit as soon as he got the ball.
Fair catch, and you catch the football.
That's true, but it saved 10 yards.
Right. But, you know, that's a tough play for a high school player.
Hey, where's that thing going to bounce, too? Maybe it bounces, and it's a negative punt. Right. Tough call there, but I agree on the fair catch. But it's tough to judge distance sometimes. You expect it to be a lot deeper. Immink is under center. The Eagles looking for their first score, and the handoff goes back to Naderveld, who's going to show his arm. And he lofts it downfield. Two defenders there, and one takes it away. Interception by the Wildcats. It looked like a good play, but the safety got over there.
The tricks are coming out of the bag tonight, aren't they?
Clay Bundy on the interception, number 12 for the Wildcats. Another break for the Wildcats. Here's a replay.
Interception by Zwiering.
A trick play.
It will be Jenison.
I've seen it all tonight here.
The ball is at the Wildcats 39.
Actually, there were two defenders covering on the play, and it happened to be that Clay Bundy, 12, picked that ball off.
Trying to look for Zwiering down the field, but he was double covered.
Well, let's see right now if they go back to the basics of running that football. Right now, again, Jenison spread out.
It's been a game of turnovers, quite a few from both teams. Option to the near side, and the ball gets loose, but it's picked up and dropped for about a 2-yard pickup. That was Dawkins on the carry.
Brought down by Fred Cunningham, the senior at 6'1", 255, the defensive end.
The tackle by Cunningham.
I have to say, the longer that Jenison Wildcats
2-yard
the
gap gain on the play. The ball is
miscues
at the
and Hudsonville
41.
stays in this game, the tighter this game is going to be. I really believe that. I think this plays to Hudsonville's strength.
Time starting to become a factor here in the first half. 3:40 left to go in the second quarter. 7-0 Jenison Wildcats. Team with the football now has the advantage. Cooper dropping back to pass, fires quickly out into the flats, but that is incomplete. It was a forward pass.
Was into the hands of Amato, had the ball, and then just dropped it. Was waiting his numbers between the 1 and the 0.
Well, right now, it just doesn't look like the coordination is right with the Wildcats. I mean, they're trying to do sort of a lot of different things, and nothing's really working for them.
It seems to me, Raj and Corey, that both teams are trying to do more. If they would just sort of relax and back down, let things sort of come to them, they're sort of like forcing the issue. There's been several opportunities where the ball has been overthrown. There's been players open. They've been dropping a few passes, but we'll see them settle down in the second half, and we're seeing a fine game so far.
This is a 3rd down and 8 from the 41. Amato in motion. Looks like option off to the left side. The pitch goes to Amato. He can't hold on to it and loses it again for a second time. The Eagles look like they're on top of it, but there is a scramble. And if we could zoom in any closer, I don't know if we'd even know who had the football.
There's a Wildcat on the ball right now.
So the Wildcats keep the football, but it will bring up 4th down, and they'll have to kick it away.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Watch the replay on this. Who's got the hot potato? Watch 40, he can't pick it, or number 10 couldn't pick it up. Hudsonville mishandles the football, and finally Jenison, looks like number 30, but no, 50, finally falls on it.
And the kick is away, and this one is sky high, and it's not really going anywhere. That's not even going to make the first down stick. Well, maybe on the hop it might.
It does take a good Jenison bounce, which stops on about the 50-yard line, or near the 50-yard line. He's in Wildcat territory anyway.
Boy, the last 2 plays, I'm sure the Wildcats would like to erase.
No kidding.
With 2 minutes and 43 seconds, Hudsonville has got ample time to take that football down and score. They just don't have any fumbles.
I'm sort of surprised that the Wildcats really haven't taken advantage of Harriman's ability to run the ball like they did last year so many times. 30 can just wear you down. They have used him a couple of times with one nice long run. We haven't seen him since.
It's a 1st down and 10 inside Wildcat territory. The Eagles working from the 48. Out to Naderveld, but he can't hold on to it. Maybe looked upfield, and Amato was closing in on him.
Well, the Wildcats, of course, are going to go back to their 4-man front, and they're going to loosen up those linebackers. They're going to back up some defensive backs, and they're going to look to pick one off here. So let's see if Hudsonville responds with maybe a draw or a screen pass in tight, see if they can break somebody open.
We're high atop Hudsonville's brand new stadium. Corey Lee along with Roger York and Don Peterson here on WCET, part of our continuing high school coverage. Next week, Granville and West Ottawa from the only 2-year-old stadium over there in Granville. Emick drops back to pass on the 2nd down and 10, and he fires complete for about a 6-yard pickup. The receiver slammed right out of play, and that looks like Ken Reagan making the catch.
Bursley drove him out of bounds, number 81, at about the 45-yard line.
Nice pass play by the Eagles where they go down and out, get to the out of bounds area, and he gets booted out of bounds, and the clock stops. So playing right into the hands of what they want to do offensively.
I think Coach Dave Durham would certainly like to score before this half is over. With about 2:33 to go, he's got the ball on about the 42-yard line, 42.5-yard line. Plenty of time for the Eagles to score.
And the Eagles have all 3 of their timeouts to work with. As a 3rd down and 5 now for Emick and the Eagles. A flag on the play as Emick rolls off to the left side. Tough for a right-handed quarterback. And he gets out of trouble. Looked like he was going to be smothered. And now he's at the 1st down stick. And he's got the 1st down unless the penalty will take it away.
Who's the penalty on? That's the question right now. Usually when there's a lot of running around like that, somebody's going to clip or hold.
Number 33 for the Wildcats, Dustin Manning, had a nice shot at him deep for a loss, but apparently the quarterback was pretty elusive and he broke the tackle. There is a flag down. Let's see what they call.
All that for
going against
in
the
motion.
Eagles.
A procedure penalty against Hudsonville.
So it brings it back to a 3rd down and 10 now. And Hudsonville will take a timeout. They want to talk things over.
Well, you think that both teams getting down to 2-3 minutes, they're giving up this football like it's a hot potato, where you might want to put it on the ground, run the clock out. Haven't been real successful in the second quarter. Get into halftime, regroup a little bit, and come back out and get your game plan back and forth.
Both of these teams, Hudsonville and Jenison, are trying an awful lot of what I would term as trick plays. I'm not saying that's not good football, it probably is, but last year I guess we're used to seeing Harriman running the ball so frequently for good yardage. Last week, for example, against Muskegon, he racked up 139 yards on 17 carries. I think tonight we've only seen him run the one nice 39-yard, 43-yard score, and the others run to the left side of the line. So Harriman's not being used all that much tonight. Both teams are using a lot of what I would term as trick plays.
Corey, you did the game last week over at Granville. How did Hudsonville, did they balance their offense with passing and running, or was it more on the ground?
Well, pretty much kept it on the ground. I'm kind of surprised Tanis is not a part of the game here. I wonder if he was injured and we didn't receive the word before game time. Tanis had a couple carries. Besselson got most of the carries last week. Emick threw a couple passes, but mostly he was sticking to the ground. They just couldn't, well, they moved the ball, but then they kind of break down as they got inside Bulldog territory. Kind of like what's happening here today. Emick fires the ball, and that is complete. Good enough for a 1st down, and the clock will stop while the chains are being moved. We're stuck at 2:12. A nice completion.
Brought down by Clay Bundy for the Wildcats.
And it was Naderveld.
Nice pass play by Emick. Went back, set up real quick, threw the ball down about 15 yards. And they're off to the races with a 1st and 10.
Clock starts up again as the chains are set. Now with the football at the 33-yard line, a 1st down and 10 for the Eagles. Last year's runner-up. After the Jenison game last year, they went on a tremendous tear. Handoff goes to Besselson, breaks to the outside, cut down as he crosses the 30-yard line.
Cuts back against the flow against the Jenison defense and picks up some nice yardage.
Brought down by Ryan Bursley.
Big number 81. And Hudsonville calls another timeout. They have 1 remaining with 1:44 left to go in the 1st half, trailing 7-0.
Corey, does Hudsonville have a field goal kicker?
Well, we didn't get really an opportunity to see it when you only have 1 touchdown in the game, but the kick was wide to the left, I remember, from last week. I believe Emick was the one who attempted the kick for Hudsonville. He looked pretty good in warm-ups, though. It looked like he could probably hit, but this would be out of the range, I'd say now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from here, but I mean, if they could move the ball in another 15 or 20 yards for him.
Yeah, they have plenty of time right now with 1 minute and 44 seconds to go. 2nd down and 6, so time is not a real problem yet. But we'll see what the next 2 plays hold in store for Hudsonville, because those will be key to this time element.
Really, as a former high school kicker, I would say you'd have to get inside the 20 before I would take an opportunity, and then you get into, well, maybe we'll go for it on 4th down territory. So it's kind of a fine line in high school. Maybe 35 in college, but
all of the high school players nowadays are sort of the term as sidewinders. Back in the old days, in the 50s and 60s, they were all like the Lou Groza type kickers with the square toe shoe. Now I don't even know if they make a square toe shoe anymore. But back in our days, they had the square toe.
That's what I wore. Emick fires the pass. That's incomplete, looking for Reagan, who was, well, pretty well covered by Amato down around the 25-yard line.
Tough pass play for Emick. He's rolling against the way he normally throws, so he's got to square up, trying to throw that football on a line, and didn't quite get it to where he wanted it to be. But the clock stops. They protect a little time. 3rd down and about 6 or 7.
This is a big play right here.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say that. I mean, it's a key play for them to keep the drive alive. Obviously, they'll go for it if they don't make the 1st down. This is 4-down territory.
Besselson is the only back in the backfield. Emick, straight drop, short drop, and fires it down the sideline, and that is picked off by the Wild. No, incomplete.
Pass by
I didn't think he had quite tucked it in.
Dawkins, 27, had a shot at it, but it just didn't stick in his hands. If we see a replay, you'll see the best receiver was 27, was wide open, and here he is, boom, in his hands and out.
Now the free safety played it like he should. He should be the center fielder, come over and. But how many times have we seen a muffed football tonight? Quite a few.
Right now, the Eagles would like to pick up about 7 yards to keep this drive alive with 1:32 to go in the second period.
We've seen quite a few fumbles and interceptions, but the weather is beautiful. You can't blame that on the weather at all. We're probably still in the high 70s. Lights are on here at Hudsonville as Emick drops back to pass. This is 4th down. He's got to do something with it and fires the ball intended for 2 receivers, and Reagan got a hand on it, Ken Reagan, but he couldn't pull it in. He almost crashed with another receiver coming over.
Incomplete.
So the Wildcats will take over on downs.
It will be Jenison ball, 1st and 10. The ball at the
Well, let's watch the replay. Notice the 2 players. It isn't a very strong pass, so 2 players are going to converge on it, and bingo, it hits the ground. But a good try by the quarterback Emick.
With 1:25 to go in the second half, I would probably look to see the Wildcats just try to get that 1 first down and go into the locker room and be contented with the 7-0 lead.
Maybe you could even say that Reagan took it away from Zweering. Maybe he had a better opportunity at it. Reagan made the dive and tried to come up with it. 2 players in motion. That will draw flags. This play is going to come back. Hooper with the football. Oh, he's tripped up, and another flag comes in late.
Hooper, the ball carrier.
Hooper upended at the 40. You don't want to see your quarterback get injured on a play that's already dead.
We have 4 officials and 6 flags down. There's something going on here, guys.
Is there a 7th flag being thrown down there somewhere?
Now I have a question. Why isn't the play just dead right there?
It should have been. I think
the
players.
The whistle was probably blown, and the player just kept on running with the ball. He should have stopped.
We've seen that a couple times on illegal procedures. I mean, that's got to be stopped right there.
Right away, right. Well, I think too, they might not have heard the whistle blow, or they kept going.
The second flag thrown is
they pick up one of the flags, but that was the second one called off.
The first flag is a motion penalty.
It really didn't matter what happened after that point. And boy, I'd really like to see the officials just run in. Like you see in the NFL, they're in there and they're just screaming at the guy, stop.
Right,
it's sort of comical right now because you can't have 2 people going into motion and they're both running at the same time at each other.
On the second game of a season like this, sort of unusual to see a play that was that disjointed in such a critical situation where you have 2 players moving at the same time.
Amato goes in motion. Hooper keeps it himself, tries to slice back to the far side, and he dove ahead for a couple yards, but what he saw I don't think was really there.
Well, what they're trying to do is get the flow going one way, and he cuts back against. They've done that a couple times tonight and had some success, but Hudsonville is sharp enough to pick that up and stop the play.
Obviously, Jenison's content to run the clock out right now, just waiting for the clock to run down.
I think that's the best decision they've made.
Well, they're kind of in a tough spot with a 2nd down at 12. That could be the best. They're in no hurry. Yeah. All in all, both teams are very solid on defense. Hudsonville had one drive where they gave up some yardage, but then they came from behind and swatted the ball out of the hands of the ball carrier. And then that long run from Harima. Those are the only 2 plays that Hudsonville has really given up, and that's why we've got a tight ball game at 7-0 as we come to the end of the first half. It is the Jenison Wildcats 7, the Hudsonville Eagles 0.
Well, I think right now Coach Durham is probably pretty pleased for what he's seen, because I think when they scouted Jenison, it looked a little bit, Jenison had some speed, had Harima, who's a very good back, had a good quarterback coming back, and probably thought they were in for a real battle, but right now I think they'll take what they have at 7-0. They gave up 2 possible scoring positions, so it'll be the second half who sort of gathers himself together. So
we saw a lot of mistakes by both teams. The second game of the season, you would think by now things would be a little bit smoother, but as we said earlier, this is a pretty intense rivalry between Hudsonville and Jenison. It's so close in proximity. Just a quick overview on the scoring in the first period. Harima 43 yards off the right side of the line, cutting back inside and getting a nice block from Kevin Fales in about the 12-yard line, and going into the end zone, and the extra point by Weinsma brings the score at 7-0 in favor of the Wildcats.
That's where we sit at halftime. We'll take a breather and come back with the second half here as we have a tight one. The Wildcats up 7-0 on the Eagles on WCET.
For a $5 donation to the boosters at the concession. And the Hudsonville High School Athletic Boosters will meet this coming Wednesday, September 8th, 7 o'clock p.m. in the high school cafeteria. Remember, too, at halftime, you can win a Rampage autographed football or tickets to a game next season for a donation to the high school athletic boosters. You can sign up at halftime at the table located by the west entrance. Drawing for the football will take place during the third quarter. Ticket winners will be notified by the Rampage office.
Yeah, they want to.
High school football games played yesterday at Jenison High School. In the freshman contest, the final score was Hudsonville 7, Jenison 6. And in the junior varsity game, it was Hudsonville 6, Jenison 0. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hudsonville High School Marching Band this year has chosen music from Leonard Bernstein's Chichester Psalms. Tonight they will perform Part 1 and 2 of the program. Part 1 is based upon Psalm 108, verse 2, and Psalm 100. Part 2 is based upon Psalm 23, verse 1, and Psalm 2, verses 1 through 4. Saxophone solos in Part 2 will be performed by Jim Reith and Joey Bridgman. Ladies and gentlemen, under the field direction of Commander Karina Machado, the 1999 Hudsonville High School Marching Band.
is halftime here at Hudsonville. We're getting set for the start of the third quarter. Both teams have made their way back onto the field. We find the score 7-0 Jenison at the half. I'm Corey Lee along with Don Peterson and Roger York, and fired up about this game between Hudsonville and Jenison, the second game of the year.
Well, as we said, to finish the first half, both teams have sort of self-destruct at one point. The Granville Bulldogs had first in, actually they were on the 4-yard line with goal to go with plenty of time, and they fumbled the ball back to Jenison. Jenison had Harriman 30 on a wide open, and he was going for the TD, and somebody, Gucci, I believe it was, came in, stripped him of the ball, and another mistake. So we've had a number of mistakes, a number of fumbles, a number of pass interceptions, a number of penalties. So let's hope the second half is a little bit more cleanly played by both schools.
Well, I'd have to say right now, fellas, that Tony Anise has got to be pretty concerned, because the longer he lets Hudsonville stay in this football game without scoring touchdowns himself, the better the Hudsonville team's going to be feeling about themselves. They're going to put a little drive together, and then Jenison's going to be right in a problem. So I'm sure at halftime he talked to his players and said, listen, guys, we got to stop fumbling the football. We got to put a couple drives together. We got to turn this around.
Oh, in a football game, anything crazy could happen on one play.
Also, fellas, I think, too, the fact that Hudsonville last year went to the state playoffs and went runner-up as state champions in Class A says a lot for their team down here. Although they did graduate a number of seniors, they do have a very fine squad. They've got some big players and pretty good-sized kids out there. In fact, I believe Hudsonville, if you look at the roster, may be a little bit bigger than Jenison. And this is like I said before, a rivalry started back in 1970. They've only met 11 times, Jenison winning all 11. So I guess the Eagles have a lot to prove tonight. And so far, as Roger just mentioned, the longer you let this team hang around with the Wildcats, the Jenison Wildcats better strap it on for the second half.
Well, key for the Wildcats has got to be Harriman. You notice he didn't play very much the second quarter. Once he got stripped of that football, he didn't come back in the game. So if he is hurt or is not playing, Jenison is going to step down just a little bit, and they're going to have a little trouble establishing that ground game.
Here's a look at the fans who have made it out here tonight. That is the Jenison side, and it's a very short trip for a road game for Jenison.
Corey, I'll tell you, we've been at Jenison for years and years, and I'll guarantee you that the people that you're looking at right now across the stadium, across the field, are probably 60% of the fans here, because a lot of them are on this side of the field or on this side. Jenison's always had a knack for supporting all of their sports teams, both basketball, football, baseball, almost anything. They're very, very supportive of their teams at Jenison, especially girls baseball, softball. It's been a tradition with Jenison for years.
Well, let's see how the teams do. They're in their huddles here just before the start of the second half, and I'm sure they talked a great extent in trying to keep control of that football.
And we're trying to get a shot of us in the press box, but we're on the other side.
Hey,
oh, no, wait, there we are.
Somebody's hand.
Who's the yellow guy standing behind us? Oh, we're in the next, there we go. All right, there we are.
Corey being 6'4", of course you can see his hands. Eh?
We're too tired to stand up. That was an exhausting first half, and plus it's quite warm out here. Well, I was wondering who's the yellow shirt guy standing next to us, but I guess there are a few. There's quite a few up here. There's some Hudsonville fans who are fired up, but they need to see their team pick up a touchdown here and try and tie this up.
O'Mara, number 10, back deep to receive on his own 10-yard line, flanked by Aaron Dawkins on one side and Clayton Mundy on the other. Hudsonville's number 5 about to kick the ball off. Ben Walcott.
Well, we'll see C.J. Hooper get his team going and see how he can get them started in the start of the third. That's an onside kick.
That's a smart play, and that's something I did in my high school career to perfection. And do the Eagles get on top of it? And I think they do. Boy, they caught Jenison off guard because they were lined up in the huddle and just took off.
Covered by the Eagles.
Outstanding play by the Eagles to start the second half to get that football back right away.
Number 3, Mike Schmidt on the
recovery.
On the recovery.
That's a dangerous play, though, too, because if you give up the football there.
Good field position, that's for sure. Well, this is what we talked about at halftime, is the momentum. Let's see if Hudsonville can take control of this momentum.
A big change of events as we start the second half of play. And a good call. It works for the Eagles. Emink is back to pass. He's under severe pressure. Gets the pass away, but it's incomplete, right in the breadbasket and dropped. Was that Naderveld down there?
Again, Amato, number 10 on the stop, or actually on the defensive stop.
Dustin Manning from Jenison made a good pressure on the quarterback, so he really sort of shouldn't have thrown that football.
Right, you put a little pressure on it. I think that the quarterback, Greg Emink, has had all kinds of time all evening to throw the ball. That time Dustin Manning did put some pressure on from his defensive end position. Playing last year, the 2-year starter, senior this year, is 6'2", 225.
Might have been Tim Zweering the pass was intended for. I think it was 86 who couldn't hold on to it. Just started the third quarter of play with the Hudsonville Eagles. They have the football now, and a 2nd down and 10. And looks like they might have taken too much time. Delay of game against the Eagles.
Now we've seen one more penalty that we haven't seen. That's a new one.
Are you keeping track of the new penalties
I
here?
sure hope that this isn't a sign of things for the second half.
I think both coaches are going to be a little upset after this game is over until this thing sort of smooth out here just a little bit.
Well, you know, for the Eagles, they really can't afford to have too many penalties. It takes away all that momentum. They just got the ball at midfield almost.
Going has been tough enough. Naderveld comes out to the near side as a receiver. There's another one to the far side with a eye backfield. Number 7 is Emink. Calls for motion. Looks like the same play they were going to run before. They got called for the delay of game. Emink is back to pass. It looks like he was trying to set up a screen, and he is dropped for a big loss back to the 37-yard line.
Coming in from the defensive tackle position, Richard Zavitz brings him down at 5'10", 175-pound senior.
Looks like holding.
So we'll see what they go with here. I'm sure they're going to take the sack because they basically get the yards with the loss of down.
They do. They did find the penalty.
A good play by the Wildcats defensively. They needed to get a little momentum going, and they're doing it on defense right now. And they're shortly going to take Hudsonville right out of their field position.
Well, the Eagles are at the 38, but they have to get to the 37 for a first down. But it's on the other side of the 50. 3rd down and 25. Emink drops back to pass. Straight drop. Sets up a screen to the near side. Besselson is smothered. He drops the football. Didn't quite take it in before he was racked up by Bullheis.
Good play by Bullheis. Saw the football coming all the way, had the man under cover, and popped that ball loose for an incomplete pass.
4th down at the 38.
4th down and 25.
Well, again, Austin Amato back to receive this punt on approximately his 33-yard line. Flanked by Clay Bundy.
Well, after all that enthusiasm started up, the Eagles went backwards instead of forward, so here they are punting.
They're back behind the spot they kicked at to kick off. Emink puts his leg into it, drifts down to the 33-yard line, and then a big collision right there. The Wildcats will have the football as they take over.
First Eagle on the stop was Clayton Brown, 31 for the Eagles.
Well, let's look for number 30 to see if he comes back in the football game and see if he can establish that running game. Yep, there he is, back in the game.
At the 32, it will be marked there, 1st and 10 Wildcats.
So that was only a 30-yard punt. 32 yards. 1st down and 10 now as the Wildcats take over their first offensive series of the second half. Amato in motion. The pitch goes to Amato. Tries to cut to the outside, but he can't. A great tackle. Coming up was number 42, Lucas Olberg, and he made the big tackle.
Great play by Lucas Olberg. Outstanding one-on-one tackle. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
The toughest tackle in football is open field tackle. Straight on straight, you know, through the line, it's okay. You go ahead and put your shoulders up and you can take them down. But an open field tackle is a beautiful thing to watch when it's done like Olberg just showed us, number 42 from the Eagles.
A loss of 3. 2nd down, 13 from the 29. Hooper's got his troop set. Well, maybe he doesn't. Come on over to this side. And now in motion.
Karam off the left side. Brought down by number 6 for the Eagles, Reagan.
The tackle made by Ken Reagan.
That's about a 6-yard pickup.
That'll be 3rd down and long yardage to go. So this will be a little bit of a decision for the Wildcats. Do they stay on the ground, run a misdirection play, or do they put it up in the air on a rollout? We'll see.
Third down and 7 from the 35. 10 minutes left to go in the third quarter of play. Jenison Wildcats with the football, leading 7-0. Harrima's the back in the backfield. On a third down and 7, Hooper set to throw. Right down the middle, and that is complete. Complete right at the 50-yard line. A nice completion as he fires it into number 84 and fails.
Kevin fails. 84 going both ways, playing a little defense and a little bit of offense.
Nice play by Nice play by Hooper, just stepping back and zinging that football in there about a 15-yard.
17 yards gained on the play.
That's a big gain for the Wildcats to move inside Hudsonville territory. On a third down and 7, they make the big pickup to get the first down. Amato is in motion. Hooper hands off straight ahead. Harima fights for a couple yards, and he does get across the 45, so about a 4-yard pickup.
Right now, Hudsonville has done a nice job in their 4-man front to stop Harima on those dives.
Actually, Roger, you know, if they continue to run the Harima as they have been now the last couple of series of plays, they can wear that defense down a little bit because Harima is 6 foot 225. He's put on some weight since last year to wear that defense down.
And as you mentioned earlier, Harima with 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He's been a special one to watch for the Wildcats, who now fumble. There's a little trouble on the exchange. Hooper wanted to keep it and go option to the right side, but he dropped it.
Those are things you just can't do. I mean, if you're going to be a good football team, you cannot drop that football. Takes away 1 down, now they're 3rd and 7. Takes them out of the game plan. Right now they got to go to something they didn't want to do.
Well, they probably would have had 3 or 4 yards. They were going to fake the ball into Harima, and then CJ was going to take off to his right, but he just didn't have the ball with him. He left it on the ground.
Hooper there just trying to pull it out, kind of got crossed up with the running back, but earlier, I think because Hooper is so dancy back there, trying to find a gap, that the pitch relation has been a problem. Some of the pitches have been dropped. They're ironing some things out here in Jenison. Hooper keeps it himself, but he is driven down by Cucci. Number 51 comes in and lays in the shoulder pad. A big third down stop for the Eagles.
Well, you notice Hudsonville came with their 2 corners slashed right to the quarterback, and their 2 backs couldn't pick them up. Watch right now. See the 2 men come right in there, and the third picks up and scrapes up all the difference. So good defense by Hudsonville.
From the 46, the Wildcats, will they try something funny here on this 4th down and 8?
Hooper back to kick. It's a high kick, rigging back deep to receive, but he's going to let this one go.
And it hits one of the Wildcats back at the 25 or 24, so that's where it's going to be spotted. Hit one of the Wildcats right on the shoulder.
All eyes are on the referee, waiting for him to throw that flag, and he didn't. So Hudsonville will get the football back.
Threw the beanie bag though.
Yeah.
Got it out to the 24. Nice toss by the official.
Wrong color.
Former quarterback, obviously.
7:27 left to go in the third quarter of play. 7-0. Jenison has the lead. Hudsonville now with the football. They'll start from the 23.
Well, if Jenison can put up a little defense right here, they can pick up a little field position, which right now is what this game's all about. Who could be where and on the football field.
Really, it's who makes the mistake.
Yep.
If you make a mistake, you stop yourself. Can't make a mistake against the defenses these 2 teams give. Here's the pitch out to the outside. And Tanis with the football. He's getting his first carry of the game, and he's up for almost 10 yards. He's going to be just a little bit short of the first down.
Again, brought down by Amato. Amato is all over the field on both offense and defense. He's quite a good player. Amato, number 10, I believe is only a junior, so we're going to see him play.
9 yards gained on the play. The ball is at the Hudsonville 32.
Well, right there, I wonder where Tanis has been, because he showed good speed, he showed good balance, and picked up some nice yardage.
He does have some speed, and I think the Eagles would be beneficial to use him like they are there. He might have had enough for the first down. Tanis squirming for whatever he could get. It's going to be close.
Stacked up by the Wildcats on the right side of that line. That's, yeah, it's going to be very tight. In fact, I think they're going to be short, Corey.
We might see the chain gang for the first time here tonight. No, it's a little short.
Well, what do? Do you go and throw a little fake into the line and a pass play, or you just get and grind it out?
You see a quarterback keeper, Roger, watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to slam this one right in there. Couple inches to go.
as your quarterback keeper. I guess I would have quit being an offensive coordinator.
Actually, it was handed off to the running back, but he was stopped.
It's questionable whether this is made or not.
I don't know.
Right now, it looks like we have a player down there in number 53. But it doesn't look like he made the play.
Well, lost half a yard. So 4th down and 1 for Besselson on that carry. He couldn't get the first down. But there was great penetration by the left side of the defense there for the Wildcats.
Right. Excellent pursuit. Wildcats are going to pick up some momentum, and also they're going to have good field position, because right now the Hudsonville kicker has not really done the best job in punting that football.
Jenison wasn't quite sure. Are they going for it or are they not? So now they finally get their troops in. Hudsonville has to call the timeout because they wanted to think things over. And then they took a little bit too long when they finally decided to punt.
This is a timeout that their coach does not want to take. When you can't get out on the field and do your punt, you need to save these for the end of the game, because a close game like this, you're going to need all your timeouts. Well, this time is slipping by pretty fast. 5:30 to go in the third quarter. So this quarter, not much passing, but a little running, and the clock keeps moving.
Neither team seems to really be ready for tonight's contest, should we say? It seems as though they're self-destructing. A lot of fumbles and mistakes for both teams.
I know you have Jenison's schedule right over there, Don. Let's go through their games coming up here as we get a chance after this punt. It is a 4th down and 1 from the 32. Emick is set to go. Ready to put his leg into it. Really no rush from Jenison. They're setting up the return.
They have nobody back to return the ball. The ball just free bouncing down to about the 30-yard line.
Well, I guess they weren't setting up the return.
No, I think they were thinking they might throw a little curveball at them and try a pass play. So Jenison for sure takes the football.
Actually, while we have this little bit of time here, Jenison begins the OK Red conference play next week with East Kentwood by having East Kentwood visit Jenison. Then they go to West Ottawa on the 17th, and they host Grand Haven, which will be covered by WCET. That'll be a home game. Jenison will host Grand Haven, and then they have Holland the following week. Then they go out to Rockford. Then they have Mona Shores at home, and they finish with Granville at Granville, which will be covered by WCET, as well as the game on the 15th with Mona Shores at Jenison.
Hooper to pass, and he fires down the middle, but just incomplete over the outstretched arms.
And guess who? Number 10, Amato, is everywhere.
The pass by
Well, I'll tell you, the Wildcats did a nice job in protection, because Hudsonville defense was coming at him, and he just got the ball away. But they've been just a little bit long in some of the key plays, pass plays. They've had a couple of the first half. Remember, wide open receivers, and the ball's been overthrown.
Next week, Hudsonville has Zeeland. They go to Zeeland, and they host Wyoming Park, and they visit Northview. Then they have Gret Lowell. They have Hastings, Forest Hill Central, and they finish up with East Grand Rapids.
Could be a big game at the end of the year. Here's the handoff to Harriman in open field. He has the first down and more, crosses the 50, and leans forward to the 40-yard line. A big gain for the Wildcats with no flags.
Outstanding blocking. I'll tell you one thing, though. The Hudsonville defense played right into that play of the Jenison Wildcats. Their linebackers moved up in. Maybe we'll see a replay of this. It's being played right now. But you watch the linebackers. They moved up inside, and bingo, Harriman came through, and no one was there to stop him. So picks up a quick 30.
Matt Reagan finally makes the tackle deep in the secondary.
Actually, I think that Harriman may have run out of a little gas on that play. It's warm out there, and he's going both offensively and defensively. And the legs sometimes get a little heavy.
They haven't used him that much today, but he should be over 100 yards after that carry. Pitch comes to Amato, and Amato has room to run. He finds a gap. A flag comes in late. Gent comes up with the tackle at the 27-yard line, but a nice gain of about 9 if it stands.
Either holding or clipping.
Tackle made by Gent.
Well, let's see if we run a replay, but their corner got completely taken out of this game, and so you had, here we go.
Holding Jenison.
There's their corner way in the back, about 20 yards down. He's supposed to be up there at the front, but good blocking by the Wildcats, but the penalty play takes it back.
Again, Jenison self-destructing after a nice run by Harriman. Then they have they have 1st and 10, and they lose 10 yards, 5 yards of penalty.
Ball now comes to the 44-yard line, where it'll be a first down and 13. Michael DeHaan, the center, actually Nathan Griffin, the center, number 50, he's up there quickly. Hooper keeps the football, gets away from one defender, that's Van Slyke giving chase number 11, then fires it down the field. This is a long ball, and Smith almost broke it up, but it's a touchdown for the Wildcats. Jenison Wildcats touchdown.
What a lucky play by the Wildcats. Hudsonville defender came right over, and it must have gone right through his hands.
You got to watch Amato in this play. Amato in the end zone catches ball. Watch this play.
Let's watch this right now.
By number 11 from the Eagles. He lets it go as far as he can throw the ball. Goes in the end zone, right through the arms of a defender, into the hands of Amato.
Number 3, wasn't it, who was defending it? Smith? He's got to look at the films and see that. It went right through his hands. Too bad.
I thought he had the pick for sure, but Amato walks into the end zone. Amato was just running a quick out, and then he realized his quarterback was in trouble. He ran out of room, so he took it upfield.
You know, Hudsonville defense did everything right. They pushed him back, they had him thrown against the grain, and bingo, they score a touchdown.
And the kick is in for Winans. Brad Winans connects on his second extra point, and the score is now 14-0 Jenison Wildcats.
Well, the Wildcats needed some shot in the arm, and they sure got it right there. I tell you, sometimes you have to be lucky, and they certainly were lucky on that pass play.
It's a 44-yarder, is that correct, Don?
I had a 43-yard pass from C.J. Hooper to Amato in the end zone.
Well, that's the magic spot for the Wildcats. An earlier 43-yard touchdown run from Harriman.
2 happy birthdays in the Hamilton family.
Was that from Harriman? Or was that
the first touchdown was also 43 yards.
Right. That's the magic number, 43. You're right.
Well, that certainly lifts the old spirits of the Wildcats right now, because they were sure not putting their offensive tools together as they normally have. Put a touchdown on the board, 14-0 right now. They're in control. I guess we'll have to see how Hudsonville responds to come back on offense.
Congratulations from the Grand Rapids Rampage and the Hudsonville High School.
4:02 left to go here in the third quarter of play, and the Wildcats a big touchdown there. They have to feel a little bit more comfortable now being up by 2, but not comfortable enough yet. The work's still cut out for them. Winans with the kick, and it's a short kick that sails to the 19. That's where it's picked up by Smith, who almost had the interception on that touchdown. He is able to roll ahead to the 34-yard line.
Smith returned the kickoff.
Well done by Eric DeBode, number 58.
The tackle made by Johnson.
Johnson also combining on the tackle.
On the kickoff return. The ball will be at the Hudsonville 34, first and 10 Eagles.
Now here's the Eagles, and they haven't had too much offense going on. In fact, in the last 6 quarters. They had a nice interception to set up their only touchdown against Granville.
Corey, that's right. Not much to cheer about for the Eagles. Let's see if Emmett can get them started right now. Their junior quarterback, and see if he can get a first down, get something started.
Last year, it didn't matter where they were. Give it to Nate Lertzema. He'll go 90 yards or more if needed. Now the pitch comes out to Besselson, carrying the ball in his inside arm as he's brought down after a 2-yard pickup.
Dustin Manning on the tackle, 33 for the Wildcats, coming in from that defensive end spot again.
Number 16, Jeremy Lanstra, didn't get much recognition, but he came up as a corner and forced that play to make a turn, and then his friends came up, made the tackle, did his job.
Eagles break huddle with a second down and 8 now from the 36. 2 receivers to the near side. Ken Reagan goes off to the far side. Besselson, the only back in the backfield. Hemmink with the long snap count. Hands off inside, and it's a nice gainer. Besselson is able to pick up the first down as he gets 11 yards on that carry.
Lanstra on the stop, that sophomore that Roger was just talking about. Jeremy Lanstra.
Jenison went back to their 4-man front, and right away he zips out for about 8-9 yards. They've been in a 5-man front most of the night, so we'll see what happens if they stay. They haven't had a lot of success in the 4-man front.
3 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Eagles are trailing now 14-0. Reagan splits up right next to the sideline on the near side. Maybe trying to fool the Wildcats, but they see him out there. Handoff inside, and Besselson is wrapped up after a couple yards.
Bo Heiss, number 9, first man on the tackle.
You know, the Eagles got a little pickup when Tanis was in there, but he hasn't had much playing time at all. I think he had 2 carries for about 14 yards.
Number 33, Dustin Manning, doing a very nice job tonight. Pursuing the football, making tackles, keeping his nose where it's supposed to be, right on that football.
Emig drops to pass. And he's under pressure, and it looks like he's going down, and he is. The Wildcats come up and make the big tackle, led by number 51.
Along with Richard Javits, 61. On the first time, the Wildcats really have broken through the offensive line and put the pressure on the quarterback for a big loss.
61, excuse me,
right.
not 51.
Yeah.
The
Wildcats are putting their defense together right now. They're getting a little momentum going. They feel good about themselves, and if they can hold the Eagles here, they'll get great field position and see if they can come back and score again.
A 3rd down and 18 from the 38-yard line, back in their own territory.
Well, we had a Jenison defender put his helmet across the line of scrimmage, which is
Chad Postman, number 99, got a little anxious there.
I thought maybe one of the Eagles had nodded his head, and yeah, that's what they're calling. They're going back on the Eagles.
Yeah, you may have drawn the defender offside.
Yeah, one of the linemen just kind of dipped his head a little bit.
You'll notice another thing that
right there. On the, oh, we couldn't see him. He was the guard inside.
You notice another thing that 33, Dustin Manning is playing the strong side.
Right.
He flip-flops back and forth, so he must be a tough guy down there at the defensive end spot.
Well, what do you call when you have 3rd and 25?
Maybe a punt. First down. They're going to give it a shot, though. Emig with the football. He's going down deep, but he overthrew that one. No, a good catch up by the receiver, but he just couldn't quite haul it in. Defender right on him. That was Ken Reagan.
Clay Bundy, 12, defending for the Wildcats.
Well, that's about the only play you can call in that situation. They almost come up with something.
Really almost did, and what I was concerned about for Jenison was the fact that they may have called pass interference again. It was very close.
4th down and a lot to go. I guess that's how you have to look at it.
Amato, number 10, back along with Clay on the far side of the field to return this punt, which will come from about the 22-yard line. High snap. High kick. Fair catch way forward by Clay on about the 45-yard line.
Good play now.
Bundy,
young man came up and caught that football with a fair catch. Gives Jenison excellent field position. Tough play by a high school player, but the right play.
That's what you were talking about earlier in the first quarter.
Right. Really helps the offense establish themselves on the field position.
Probably saved 15 yards that way.
And with the hop, it could have been a lot more.
Sure.
1st down and 10 from the 44, just short of midfield for the Jenison Wildcats, up 14-0 as we get closer and closer to the end of the 3rd quarter. Receiver to the near side, C.J. Hooper, senior quarterback. Handoff inside. Looks like Harima, I believe, on that carry.
Harima for about 2 yards.
Big guy gets up a little slow and walks back to the huddle. But after a 2-yard pickup.
The ball is at the Jenison 46.
Should have one more play in the quarter. Clock's at 20 seconds. 2nd down and 8. Pitch and a fumble, and who's on top of it? The Wildcats get back on top. It was pitched out to Amato, and he lost the football. Now we have a penalty flag in there as well, and 84 falls on top of it. That's false.
Flag on the play, so let's see what happens here. Jenison illegal motion, or somebody moved ahead of the count.
Jenison moving back deep for their huddle.
They're going the wrong direction in a fast way.
This is funny. We put a couple things together and they score, and then they go right back to what they did before, and that's fumble the football or mishandle it.
Well, we have 8 seconds to go in the 3rd period. Jenison on top, 14-0, and It brings up, what is it?
Ball will be marked at the Wildcats 36.
Well, we have to do the math here. That might take a little while.
Yeah,
But that's going to be the end of the third quarter. End of the third quarter with the score, the Jenison Wildcats 14, the Hudsonville Eagles 0.
Actually, the Wildcats have scored on, as Corey mentioned earlier, on 43-yard scoring plays, one run by Harem in the first quarter with 50 seconds to go. In the second quarter, the pass from C.J. Hooper with 4:02, the 43-yard pass that went through the hands of a Eagle in the end zone into the hands of a waiting number 10, Amato, for the 43-yard reception to make the score 13-0. The kick being good by Weinsma. Now we're at 14-0 with in the third quarter with the last quarter, 12 minutes to go.
Well, I guess if you had to evaluate the third quarter, not too much really has changed. That touchdown there was a nice play, but really the defender had an opportunity to intercept that football, guys, and he just didn't do it. So when you look at it that way, Jenison really was lucky to score, and I'm sure their coach realizes it, but he'll take the points.
Well, we added it up. Second down, 16.
16?
Looks like a little bit longer, though. I'd say pretty close to 17. Call it a long 16 here. Now for the Wildcats, they just got to get it going, pick up a couple first downs, and wear down on this clock a little bit.
Well, as you would say as a coach, we want to take and maybe get 10 yards on this play right here, and then hope we can come back and get another 10.
Hand off on a counter play. About a gain of 2 yards there as the handoff went to the Wildcats.
Dawkins, for the first time, I believe, carrying the ball off the left side as you send the counter play, faked into Harem, and then Dawkins coming back to the close side of the field here for very little gain.
Again, that was the same type of play that really Harriman ran for the touchdown, but Hudsonville didn't bite on it this time.
Right. Well defended by Hudsonville.
They're down in a bunch.
We'll see the arm of Hooper. Amato is in motion. Hooper rolling out. They run the option to the right side. Amato trying to throw again. He did this earlier in the first half. Hung it up there too long, and the defenders got back and broke up the play.
Pass intended for Dawkins, 27.
Gent broke that one up.
Good play, good response by the defense from Hudsonville, because the ball was up in the air, so he had a chance to get down there and bat it down, which he did. So I tell you, it's a little strange game. They have, how many times have they done this pitch, lateral pitch, throw the pass? I mean, it's been a little different type of plays.
Ken Reagan is back to receive the kick.
C.J. Hooper has a low line driving kick with a nice Jenison bounce to it, rolling down towards the 27-yard line. Ball down there with 11:09 to go in the game. Jenison on top, 14-0.
At the 28 of the Eagles, it will be marked there. First and 10, Hudsonville.
Well, Emmick is going to try and rally his troops right now and get these guys out there, get them fired up a little bit, see if he can put a first down together, which is what they need right now. Just get back to the basics.
Beginning at 10 a.m. in the morning. Please go and support the girls varsity swim team.
Next week here on WCET, the West Ottawa Panthers and the Granville Bulldogs. Have that for you, same time, same channel.
Serving Jenison, Granville, Hudsonville, channel 50.
Emmick with a long snap count. Hand off to Besselson. He's stacked right at the line of scrimmage. Big push there from the Wildcats for no gain.
Not much on that play. The left side of the Jenison line came in there and made the tackle, made the stop.
Ryan Smo is 52, the last man up off the pile. Second-year starter from the defensive end position. Pretty good-sized boy, 6 foot tall, 210 pounds, senior.
Something that they haven't done, Corey, they went away from their rollouts. Remember the first half, they were very successful in getting a couple of rollouts. Haven't done that yet. Nice fake.
Option, quarterback will keep, and he's stuck right at the 35. Emmick is able to carry for about 5 yards and make it third down and about 3 upcoming.
Dykem on the stock.
5-yard gain on the play.
And now with 10 minutes on the clock, you pretty much have to think Hudsonville would need their first touchdown here. They may have 3 drives left in this game. They need to score on 2 of them.
Bring the football down the field, run the clock down a little bit, play control football.
Most of their passes have been the long variety. If they maybe go to the 10 or 15 yarders.
High backfield. Besselson, the first back. Looks like Gent is lined up in the eye, and that is Gent. Immink to throw, and his pass
underthrown out of bounds and defended by Amato.
Trying to hook up with Naderville.
He did roll out like we were talking about, but he got his guy down there a little too far. He only needed 3 yards. You know, it's a real fun game. You just need to go down 5, go down 6.
Exactly, Roger. I agree with you totally on that. They've been going for the long 15, 20, 30-yard passes when if you could just go 8, 10 yards down the field with a nice completion and keep the ball moving down the field. But again, they're back to punt with Amato back on the 35-yard line to receive. Reagan, is it Reagan back to kick?
Immink.
Immink.
Number
nice
7,
kick.
Nice kick.
Takes a hop right at the 35. And the Eagles are going to down it at about 37.
Yeah, they've got good field position. Got 9 minutes, 9.5 to go, so they have plenty of time. Every time we see them get the football, we think, well, this has got to be their drive. This has got to be their drive. But, you know, we don't know. We'll see.
The Wildcats could shut the door right here with a score. Any variety. And maybe that's why on that earlier, that 3rd down was not complete. Immink was hoping for a shorter route. They only needed 3, and the receiver ran it out a little too far.
Yep, right.
First down and 10 from the 38. Jenison Wildcats, dressed in their visiting white. They've got the 14-0 advantage.
Nice.
Hooper
fake.
keeps it himself. He's
fake.
into the secondary, goes around Besselson and driven down, but he picks up 15 yards as he crosses into Eagle territory.
Actually, Corey had a nice stutter step after he made the reverse move at the line of scrimmage, went about 8 yards, and watch his stutter step right there and cuts back inside and goes down for 3 more yards. Nice run by C.J. Hooper.
Don, you got excited, didn't you?
Brings back home memories. But it was a nice move by a nice quarterback. Not real big, but real fast kid. He's got a good arm.
Yep.
Strong kid.
Well, it's nice you have that 1-2 punch. You get Harem up in there, and then C.J. Hooper comes down the line.
Clock now at 9 minutes. Hooper drops to pass. He's looking downfield big time, and it is intercepted by Smits. Smits caught it at the 5. He finally landed at about the 2. So the Eagles will have the football.
It'll be interesting to see where the referee spots the ball. He may spot the ball on the 1 yard line, which I believe he's going to do. He caught the ball and he downed it on the 1 yard line.
Truly an outstanding play. Watch the replay right now. I mean, this fellow really went out. Beautiful play.
That's a good call because that's where his knees landed.
So actually, it's as good as a punt for the Wildcats, although the Wildcats were on the move at that time with a 14-0 lead, and with 8:57 to go, they could have put them away. But now the Eagles come back with a 9-yard turf in front of them.
Well, they get some good pressure here. They might come up with 2 points. The Eagles have to be careful about that. The plunge straight up the middle just to get away from the shadow of the goal line.
Just rooting out about 3 or 4 yards, but it also is running the clock down too.
We'll see who comes up. That's Immink out of the bottom of the pile.
Washewski, number 76, just came in the game. He's a big young man. Wildcats trying to get their defense set.
Washewski, Rogers, 6'1", 235. Only a junior, be back next year.
Yeah, right on the defensive line, right down there.
Second down and 7 from the 4. Van Slyke's in motion. Actually, yeah, that is 11. And just trying to get away from the goal line again, apparently.
Wildcats doing a good job penetrating in there and keeping him from going down the line of scrimmage.
Brings up 3rd and about 6 yards, and so it's a very critical play for the Hudsonville Eagles. While they want to make their first down, they want to be foolish and try anything that would turn the ball over to the Wildcats at this point in the game, because that would pretty much put a nail in the coffin right now. So it's sort of a tough call here with 3rd and here's again where you might want to throw the ball 6-8 yards downfield.
Handoff goes to Besselson, but he is tackled. Might have been a 1-yard loss on that play. Boy, they were really trying to be safe, but they got into a tough spot there.
Yeah, playing it pretty safe, but you got to play it safe in that position. you're down 14-0. You really don't want to be down another 7 quick.
Olszewski again on the stop, 76 for the Wildcats.
No gain on the play. The ball will be marked.
Olszewski did not start the game, but being a warm night tonight, they have begun to put a few substitutions in for the Wildcats. Olszewski at 6'1", 235, made a nice defensive play on that particular play. Amato back to receive on approximately the 35-yard line. The punter in the end zone on the end line just about. Nice punt.
Oh.
Amato let it go.
Bad.
It's a big punt. That's about a 60-yarder, 55-yarder.
Beautiful punt by Hudsonville. No question about that. Yeah, no question about that. It really changes that field position because you notice when he first started to line up to receive, he was on about the 40.
You remember last year, Roger, when Jenison had Rockford at home and Rockford punter kicked a 90-yarder.
Oh yeah,
It was an unbelievable.
It took
kick
Jenison
for a
right out of position. That kid, that young man went on to receive a scholarship. I know, to a big time school.
Yeah, he's at a big school. I can't remember which one off the top of my head either. But
Rockford had a number of fine players last year. Some went to Grand Valley Division I school. Good program at Rockford.
Well, they lost 25-0 last week.
Ooh,
But they played a really good team. Harima gets
Pops
first
out.
down yardage. He cuts back to the right, and Clements in hot pursuit, and he finally pulls him down at the 30-yard line.
What you had there, guys, is strength on strength. You had Clement, 55 for the Eagles. That big kid goes both ways, going after Harima, number 30. Watch strength on strength. You see Harima cut back to the sidelines, and then watch 55 coming from behind right now, brings him down.
Yeah. Again, he comes through that line and cuts back. When he does that, he is so strong, gets everybody moving in the wrong direction.
And I think, well, it looked like they were going to call a timeout. Maybe they're not. They're running out of time, though.
First and 10 Wildcats.
Taking a long time in the huddle. Could be delay of game coming if they don't hurry up.
Well, they're sprinting to the line of scrimmage.
Well, maybe they have more time than I thought. Handoff goes to Amato. He's got room on the right side, chopped down at the 25-yard line, but a nice gainer there of 5 yards.
Amato, the ball carrier.
How about the Jenison team coming back after that 51-yard punt? They come back with a 25-yard run, and they get a nice 5-yarder here.
Matt Regan put a hit on somebody from Jenison right there. He stood him right up, number 10. Real nice hit.
Looks like Jenison is really trying to put the stops right now on the Eagles. If they punch it in right now with 5:40 to go, it could be pretty much a ball game.
If they keep it on the ground, they can grind it out a little bit.
Here goes Amato off the right side on a counter play.
He should have enough for the first down.
Amato, the ball carrier.
After a 6-yard pickup on the first play, I think he's got 6 again. Good enough for a first down. Matt Reagan finally makes the tackle.
I would be surprised if they put the ball in the air. I think just trying to keep it.
Clock stopping while they move the chains down. The clock stops back up again with 5:20 to go. Jenison on top, 14-0 on about the 20-yard line. Tap knocking on the door again.
Hooper and keeps it himself. Nice fake inside, but then he was smothered in the backfield. Olberg, number 42, was one of the first ones there for the Eagles.
Hooper, tackled by
Well, keeps the clock going. I guess that's really what Jenison wants to do.
They're in a very good spot right now with under 5 minutes to go and 2 scores ahead.
I think if I was calling some of these plays, at 2nd and 13, I'd run a couple, and then I would bring my kicker in and give him a little experience. You don't have much time. You're up by 14. Experience counts, especially early in the season.
And that would make it a 3-score game, too.
Yep.
They're taking as much time as possible. They're counting on the sideline to make sure that they know exactly how much time is left. Then they call a timeout just to be safe.
Good play. Actually, we never mentioned the coaches of these teams, but we have Dave Durham in his 5th year at Hudsonville. He's run a nice program, as we said earlier. He took this team to the state finals, having lost one of his games to Jenison earlier in the season. But then as they got into conference play, they had a fine year, and ultimately were beat by, I think it was Farmington Hills, was it? Or
Farmington Hills,
in the state finals.
Right.
Jenison had a nice year last year, going 6-1 in OK Red play. Could have actually won the OK Red. They had Rockford on the ropes. They were behind 7-6 at home, had the ball down at about the 12, 15-yard line, and about 30 seconds ago they fumbled the ball over to Rockford, and Rockford ultimately won that game and went on to the state finals. and were defeated by, I think it was Detroit Catholic Central. They had that game won, and on a long pass play, Rockford lost that game to a Detroit team.
Well, last night, guys, Hudsonville, their program is starting to come along because they defeated Jenison in the freshman game 7-6, and they defeated Jenison in the JV game 7-0. So that's saying a lot in the whole program.
Clock stopped at 4:21 after Jenison took the timeout. It's their football. The second down and 13. Hooper keeps it himself, squirms through the line, and he breaks to the right side. Off to the sideline and shoved out inside the 10-yard line. A first down.
Boy, that play that Hooper runs is really, it's really quite nice because he ties up everybody. They don't know where the ball is, and all of a sudden he pops free. Watch it here, right there. There he comes out of the pack, picks up 10 yards.
Gent makes the tackle there for the Eagles. But not a bad run.
Well, it keeps the clock moving as soon as we get the snap, and that's all Jenison wants to do right now.
Ball is spotted at the 9-yard line. First down and goal from there. The big guys from the Wildcats go up on the ball. Hooper comes in. Off to the right side, the handoff. Harima, he's at the goal line, but stop. No, he's in. He leans in for the touchdown, and the Jenison Wildcats have pretty much put the nails in the coffin there.
Actually, Dykema, number 37, was the ball carrier off the right side of the line, I believe.
Yep, that was him. He ran very well. In fact, talking to the coaches at halftime, they were talking about that and saying, boy, this young
Touchdown,
should be in the game sometime. So here he comes and scores a touchdown.
Harima had a 43-yarder earlier. He gets a 9-yarder here.
No.
Dykema that time. Dykema
Oh, Dykema, excuse me. It's getting down to the edge of the field, so it's tough to pick up the numbers. And the kick is right down the middle. So with 4:05 left to go, 21-0. The Jenison Wildcats have the lead on the Hudsonville Eagles.
Well, that was more Jenison football right there, taking the ball and bringing it down the field. I'm sure they'll get a little more satisfaction out of that type of play. And John Dykema did a nice job taking that handoff and just getting into the end zone.
Chris and Nick Niles are celebrating their 12th birthday today.
Well, 4:05 to go, Corey. Right now, I guess if you can get Hudsonville out on the field and get them to put a couple first downs together,
Mr.
get
Nelson
some positive
wants to wish
feelings going here for next week.
On 9-9.
Well, they have
what they're thinking about.
They have to think that Jenison is in a little larger class, of course. They're one up.
Right.
It's been tough for them because, well, as you mentioned, they have met so many times, but Jenison always seems to win, including last year 29-12, 21-6 in 1997, in 96, 25-9. In 95, Jenison had a great year. They're going 10-1, and they beat up on Hudsonville 28-7. In 94, 14-0, and 14-7 back in 93. They didn't play in 92, but they met many times before.
Well, one of these years, Hudsonville's going to come back and make up for all those defeats with a big win over Jenison, I'm sure. They certainly have a nice facility here, and it's a very nice hospitality has been phenomenal here. Beautiful place for a game, beautiful night, good weather. I'm sure Hudsonville would like a better score, however, than 21-0 in favor of the Wildcats.
We just took a look at Dykema's touchdown. You can see his number clearly there on the replay. Kick is away, and Smith will take it from inside the 15. Smith looking for running room, sneaks up the middle and pushed down at the 29.
Brought down by DeHaan.
Smith returned the kickoff by Wyman.
Nice tackle by DeHaan, I tell you. Put his head in there, and you could hear the leather up here. So some hitting going on down there in that field.
Tackle made by Heisenguth.
Well, talking a little bit about Hudsonville and Jenison, really when you think about it, Jenison really bloomed real quick. A lot of people moved out to Jenison. Population exploded. Hudsonville was a little slower, but really Hudsonville in another decade will be bigger, a lot bigger than Jenison. And there'll be a time when they come down here and they just put a lick on old Jenison. It'll happen here pretty soon.
Program is definitely moving in the right direction. Emick going back for the pass and fires out to the left side. The pass is incomplete. He tried to hook up with Naderveld.
I was talking to Billy Blackwire before the game, and we were talking about if you lost the first game to Jenison and won the rest of them, I'd take that every time. And he says, "Why, sure, we sure would, you know." And that's the truth. I guess you play a tough game to start with, and then you run your season, go to the tournaments. That's not all bad.
Nobody complains about last year around Hudsonville. But this year they're looking for something a little bit different. They don't have the Nate Lertzema you can just hand the ball off to, and that offensive line was spectacular.
Jenison going into a prevent defense.
But you know, fellas, too, they got to be happy about Granville. I mean, they beat Granville last week, and they're a big score. So, I mean, they're hanging in there. I think their whole team effort is growing, and they're able to compete against the bigger schools, and so they're doing fine. They're doing a fine job.
Actually, Granville has West Ottawa next week, I believe, and that will be covered by WCET, as Corey mentioned. They go to Rockford, Granville does. Then they have Mona Shores, and they have East Kentwood, Holland. Then they go to Grand Haven. They finish up with Jenison at home. That'll be covered by WCET as well.
3:47 left to go. 21-0. Hudsonville trailing. They have the football now. Emink with a nice ball out to the flats, and that is tipped away at the last possible second. Nice. And you're calling for a flag.
I was calling for a flag on that one, but I guess it looked nice. Maybe we'll see a replay on this.
Actually, Amato just put his hand in and just knocked the ball out. I believe it was Amato.
Probably got the hand in there first. It's tough to see because we're all the way across the field from this place.
Here we go. Here's a replay. Let's take a look. We'll be a sideline official here. Yeah.
That looks pretty clean right there.
That was a sophomore that did that.
Really? Good play.
Lanstra.
Good play on defense. Very, very close.
4th down and 10 from the 29. Looks like the Eagles are going back to kick.
And no Jenison player will go back to catch this ball. Just let it go. Nice spiral downfield. Takes a big Hudsonville roll down to about the 20-yard line.
A punt by Emink down outside the Wildcats 20.
So Emink drills 50-yarder again. He had a 51 earlier. I think this one will be 49 officially. No, this one's right on 50.
Well, let's see if the Wildcats make a few changes with a 21-0 lead here going into the last 3 minutes and 29 seconds. Well, we still have the same troops.
There's a different left tackle at 72 for the Wildcats. No, I guess it isn't either. You're right. 72 started. He's still there.
Hand off, and Harima is, or Dykema. Boy, they look so much alike. I'm going by body size because I'm having a hard time picking up the numbers so high atop the world here.
Dykema's 5'11", 177, a little smaller, but they do look alike. We're a long ways away. We have a player down for Hudsonville. I believe it's 55. Clement's played an outstanding game, playing both offensively and defensively. Probably a little worn out, or he may have hit a knee to the head or something here.
55's not moving. There he is, turning over a little bit.
Clement was shooken up a little bit early in the Granville game last week, but he got the ankle taped up and came back in. Boy, it's tough to see like an injury happen anytime, but especially when the score is pretty much settled.
Now, it's 21-0 with 3 minutes to go in the game. You want to get some of your players out. You put some of these other players in because you'll be needing them next year and later in the season.
Well, that's right, and the enthusiasm, you know, you get some of the younger players into the play, the enthusiasm stays at a high pitch, whereas some of these players that have been in there, they're a little tired, they're not quite putting out because they know the game is pretty much over, so now's the time to make a few changes.
You know, actually, Granville starts 7 juniors on offense, so they have a relatively young team, and so they should be decent. Hudsonville, I'm saying, excuse me, I was thinking about Granville's games going down the road, but Hudsonville's a relatively young team.
They lost a lot off last year. You miss the big names like Glass and Lertzema and quarterback Beal. Van Slyke was a quarterback in the early part of the season. Some of the big guys on defense, Durham, just to name a few of the many that made it possible. A lot of offensive linemen might not get the credit they had, but guys like Van Ryan, boy, they made some big holes for Lertzema.
Actually, Jenison has a few players back, not that many though, but on defense they have Manning back, they have Smoes back, they have Rick Boheis back at a inside linebacker position, and on offense they really have back some skilled people in C.J. Hooper as quarterback, and then Mitch Harriman at the running back position, along with Dawkins at the running back position, and the big offensive right tackle, Kyle Ross, is in his returning position. So they have 4 players back on offense and 4 players back on defense.
Dustin Boss had a limp off the sidelines. I sure hope his ankle isn't too bad, but right now it looks like he's in some pain.
It's a 2nd down and 1, and here comes a player laid off the sideline for the Wildcats. Bust his tail all the way over to the near side to line up. The Wildcats should be set to go now. 2nd down and 1. Hooper lost the football, but he dives ahead, and he should have enough for the 1st down. Boy, you brought up the name Kyle Roz, and I thought back to the nice run the Jenison Wildcats had in basketball last year.
Yeah.
That was really fun to watch that last year.
Actually, I thought that the Wildcats basketball team was one of the deepest teams that we've had in a number of years. They went probably 10 people deep on that team. I can remember years back when my son Steve played. Actually, the new AD at Jenison and Kevin Van Dyne and my son played together at Jenison. Kevin went on to play at Calvin College, was a great player at the college level, and now he's the new AD at Jenison, replacing the recently retired Kurt Powell.
2.5 left to go, 4th quarter clock, 21-0. Wildcats with the football and their lead. Hooper keeps it himself, breaks out of one ankle tackle, and he's into the secondary. Finally driven down by Personaire. But a big gain for Hooper as he takes it inside Eagle territory.
Oh, Hooper showed a real burst of speed there. Let's see if he comes up on a replay. Here we go. Watch him come down. Fakes the handoff, keeps it. Shows a burst of speed. Number 10 for Hudsonville. Really pursued nicely.
Personaire. Some of the second guys are in there for Hudsonville.
2 minutes to go in the final quarter.
Now from the 45 inside Eagle territory. Amato looks like he's in there at quarterback now.
It was brought down by 51 for the Eagles. That would be Cucci.
Yeah, last week, Amato had a very nice game for the small amount of time that he played, but he put a few points on the board.
He had a 53-yard catch for a touchdown, 36-yard run for a touchdown, and he caught another one for 21.
Pretty nice job for
18 points out of him.
For part-time player.
Actually, Amato's going both offensively and defensively. He's only a junior. Now he's going to be a quarterback for a while. Does everything.
Amato hands off inside. That's good enough for a 1st down for the Wildcats, and they pretty much put a cap on this game with 1 minute left to go.
Again, Dykema with the ball.
Now this is a good chance for Jenison to get a few players in there too, because you never know. You get a player injured, you got to keep on going, and you need a good quarterback to make things happen.
Boy, it is amazing from up here to see how Dykema looks pretty much like Harriman. I thought Harriman was larger than anybody else I'd see on the field. But they do pretty much look alike when you look at him from afar.
Now, in talking again to the coaches at halftime, he's a hard runner, they were saying, very hard runner.
And the Wildcats will kneel it down. That could be the last play, and I believe it will be the last play. Jenison Wildcats come into Hudsonville. They see the brand new stadium, and then they put a couple points on the board. 21-0, Jenison Wildcats defeat the Hudsonville Eagles.
Well, last year, Corey and Roger, the score was 29-12 in favor of Jenison, but they're making it closer. It's now 21-0. It's a fine, well, I wouldn't say a fine contest. It's fun to cover, but there were a lot of mistakes on both sides of the ball. And just a quick recap of the scoring. Jenison started scoring out with 50 seconds to play in the 1st quarter, with Harriman going 43 yards to score. It's being good by Winesman, making it 7-0. In the 2nd period, Jenison had the pass from C.J. Hooper, 43 yards down in the end zone to Amato. The kick again good by Wyman, making the score 14-0 in the 3rd period. In the 4th period, with 4:05 to go in the contest, John Dykema scored a 9-yard run off the right side of the line, making it 20-0, and the kick was good again by Winesman, making it 21-0. So, all Jenison tonight. A lot of mistakes on both sides of the ball. Still a win for Jenison.
Right. Well, I'd have to say Jenison's 2 key players, C.J. Hooper and Mitch Harriman were the difference, basically. Hudsonville put up a nice battle. They made too many mistakes, basically. They tried to get in the end zone. They fumbled the football, had a couple opportunities in the first half. But I think it was just too much Harriman, too much C.J. Hooper, and Jenison's defense started to come together. So good football game to some degree. I'm sure they're going to talk it over this week, correct some mistakes, because both of them, I think, start in their league play next week. And Jenison goes to East Kentwood, which is always a tough customer, and it's been a big-time rivalry. And our friends at Hudsonville go over to Zeeland, and that is really a big-time rivalry for them. So they kick off their conference schedule next week.
Right.
So all in all, the Jenison Wildcats move to 2-0, and the Hudsonville Eagles go down to 1-1 on the year. And the final score, once again, 21-0. The Jenison Wildcats victorious over the Hudsonville Eagles. That's going to wrap up our coverage. Our thanks to all of our volunteers working on the cameras. Of course, we got Todd Bylis and Al Dodds working down there, working very hard. In fact, I think we've got the whole lineup crew here, don't we, Don?
Well, I have some of Alan Dodd and his son Scott Dodd, who played last year for the Wildcats. We have J.B. West. We have Todd Bylis, as you mentioned, and Garrett Klein, who the names I was given.
Okay, so...
And Scott Dodds on graphics.
Okay, so that's going to wrap up our coverage for Roger York and Don Peterson. I'm Corey Lee. 21-0, the Wildcats victorious over the Eagles on WCET.